Trainers of all types, drafters of all disciplines. Hello, I'm Cossack11, and this, of course, is the MagneZONE. And I'm here with my co-hosts. I don't really have a good adjective for them. It's tough to describe my co-hosts. But we have Adam.
Hello.
Clutch has returned.
Hi.
And Sam.
Hey.
And we're going to be covering, hopefully we'll be able to get through 2 podcasts this week. If not, then we'll figure out what we're going to do. But I'm fairly certain we can get through 2 this week. But we're going to do them on different days. And the first one we're doing is the TPL draft synopsis. And also like week 1 free agent transaction synopsis. We'll go over that as we go. Well, I'll get to that in just a bit. But we're going to be going over the TPL, which is the, if you don't know what that stands for, it's the Top Flight Premier League. Yes, one of the few leagues that doesn't sound like it was using a random number or a random name generator to create its league name.
Throw Pokemon adjectives in a blender, pulse for 10 seconds.
Yes.
Take out your league name.
Indeed.
Anyways.
So, 16 teams and quite a lot to get through. So let's jump right into it. So how we're going to do this, we're going to go from left to right as in the order that's on the document. So for those of you who have access to the document, you can follow along as we go. So there you go. Look at us having visual aids, unintentional visual aids, but they're there.
Yep.
And
if
we're
you're
using
sitting in
them.
front of your computer.
If you're not sitting in front of your computer and you're just listening to this on your walk or on your drive to work, that's also cool. You can always check out the doc later. If you have access to it, you probably should, because that means you're in the league and are also probably a reserve coach in the league. So one of the two. Anyway, we're going to be going over the rosters. We're going to be going over the rosters as they stand, though, because we have a good commissioner and the free agent transactions that have already been that take effect now. Like this isn't week 1. This is pre-week 1. Any free agent transactions now do take effect in week 1. So,
he said I was good.
Yeah.
well,
Because
you're
keeping that in writing later if you can.
No promises. You might want to like keep that chunk of the podcast and just play that over and over, and just keep that in mind, because your team is the team we're ripping apart first.
That's true.
So
Adam's a great commissioner. Let's tear his team to shreds.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes, the man with most of the power in the league. Let's make him mad at us. Anyway, so we're going with the teams as they are now. These teams could change. Everyone gets 5. Yes, 5 free agent transactions. 5 total for the season, and some people have used up a fair few of them already. Well, actually, I think maybe 1 or 2 people used 2, but I think most of the people who've used theirs have used 1. This was a weird draft. I'll just put it this way. There was a lot of, like, the flow of it was very strange. There was, like, a pocket where Bulky Waters went fast. Just, like, it was, like, one right after another, one round of just pure, like, almost pure Bulky Waters picks. But anyway, first team, Akron Alakazams. Mega Gardevoir is their Mega. Tier 1, Weavile. Tier 2, Buzzswole. Tier 3, Snorlax. Tier 3, Metagross. Tier 4, Rotom-Mow. Tier 5, Weezing. Free slot 1, Arcanine. Free slot 2, Crobat. Free slot 3, Gastrodon. Free slot 4, Druddigon. So, Acheron is part of the reason why the tier 3 free agents are basically non-existent. Because, oh my god, look at all these tier 3s. You could.
I can go get another.
You have that power, although I think Druddigon is actually pretty good for your team, so maybe not.
I agree.
So, there are some good tier 3s still left, but very few of them. This is, I think, the most picked over I've seen tier 3 out of any of the drafts I've been a part of. So, what do you guys think of this team? What do you guys think of Akron? Give me your thoughts. Adam, Adam, we'll get to you after we all rip it apart.
I think it's interesting. Some parts of this feel like an Adam team to me. Like, I think Clutch and I have like said that Adam definitely has a type. Like, you look at some teams and you're like, this is an Adam team, or you look at some Pokemon and you're like, that's an Adam Pokemon. I think things like
Altaria, cough cough.
Mega Altaria, Mega Gardevoir strikes me that way.
Yeah.
Crobat strikes me that way. Arc strikes me that way. Dredagon to an extent.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see like you. I mean, first off, like rest in peace to Adam's streak of drafting Rotom H.
Oh yeah.
Rotom
It got
Mo this
sniped
time.
round 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. The some of the Rotom forms went quick. Rotom Wash went in the second round, like early.
I mean,
But
it's kind of early, but I think I picked it in the second round before, and like
yeah, but like going as like a pick in the teens is pretty quick for Rotom Wash, I think. But anyway,
that's fair. Yeah.
So things I'm interested. Like I don't know how like Gastrodon's kind of an interesting mon to see on the team. It's a good bulky water though. Good ground type.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And a good grass resistant Rotomo, Crobat, Arcanine, and Buzzwole really kind of ate that as well.
We were talking about this earlier, Adam and I were, and Adam talked about how he drafted Gastrodon, and he was drafting he took care to make it so that his team didn't have any other grass weaknesses.
I have 7 grass resistances.
Basically, the idea being that, are you really going to run grass coverage specifically only for Gastrodon? Because otherwise, you're kind of wasting a move slot.
The answer, depending on the mon, is yes.
Yeah, the answer, depending on the mon, is of course yes. But like, it is kind of a diminishing returns thing for sure.
Yeah, you're not getting coverage on anything else with it, but like. Yeah. You know, it's one of those things that you need to bring something to break it, but when he has an abundance of switch-ins for it, it's fantastic
tough.
for him.
Yeah.
It makes it tough on him.
Yeah.
The team is a little weak to toxic. Like, toxic is a good move for this team because like a lot of things on this team don't appreciate being on timers.
He does have 3 toxic immunities though.
However, you can still even still like bringing toxic for Arc and Castro and Rodigan.
You're not wrong. Nice. Yeah. He also technically has 4 if he were to bring a not like a subpar Snorlax set, because
you're thinking immunity Snorlax.
I mean, it's a set that can be run, and in certain situations it's good, but I usually think there's better lax sets you can be running.
Fair enough.
How do we feel about is Weavile's an interesting tier 1 here? Like, you didn't really have your pick of tier 1s because you grabbed Scolipede with the 17th pick.
It's because I was on tier 1.
Yeah. Are you happy with Weavile? Like, how do you feel about its fit with the team?
Oh, I am happy with Weavile.
I would be too.
I think Weavile is a good. I think Weavile as a pursuit trapper with Mega Gardevoir is really nice.
Yeah,
pursuit trap, knockoff spam, priority, general speed.
It also creates an interesting Psychic Dark fighting core with Buzzwole and Metagross.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like.
I mean, I guess
cores are an interesting idea. Yeah,
I guess core isn't quite the word for it, but it does have the type synergy of that.
Yeah,
which can be helpful.
And, yeah, so Weavile's good. Arc is versatile.
I know Buzzwole's like on this team as a fighting type, and it's got a good speed tier on this team as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, like the one flying resist on this team is Metagross. If I'm thinking correctly, everything else
Yep. There is no other flying resists.
It's kind of hard to protect Buzzwole around that at times.
That is true. Yeah, you're right. Burb spam might actually be an issue. I mean, yeah, you've got Weavile, so you've got a little bit of like anti-air on like in there. But this team is gonna have a little bit of struggle with the air game.
Metagross helps quite a bit.
Yeah, Metagross does help a lot in that regard.
It will be. Some teams
We're about to talk about Indianapolis next, and Akron and Indianapolis play immediately.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see like in the first week how this team like handles having to match up with like Mega Pinsir, for instance, because like I feel like it's not impossible, it's doable.
Yeah.
But like it's going to be interesting. Like,
Well,
it's not a comfortable
right. It's one of the and this is always the tricky bit about doing like a draft synopsis like this. That's what because we've done we've done at least one of these now.
Like only one.
Only one, yeah, for RDL season 3, right? Because we started this podcast about halfway through season 2 of RDL, but it's tough to know how well a team's going to do. You can make predictions, but it's you until you actually see the team in action. It's tough to really kind of figure out, especially if it's like, because I think a lot of these teams that we have in this league right now, they don't necessarily fall into what we'd call your typical, like there's certain teams where I feel like sometimes I've seen that team before, right? Like, or at least like you get like the top end of a team and you're like, yeah, I've seen this exact top end on like a couple different teams in a couple different leagues. But in this is one, like in this league, I haven't seen many of those. So it's tough for me to kind of gauge how a lot of this is going to work together.
Yeah, well, I think that this is like, it's a workable team. Like Adam's definitely has something, like he has lots of good pieces to work with.
He has good threats.
Oh, no doubt.
Relaxed, fantastic threats. A great supported backbone behind them.
It's
Robo,
yeah.
Are you excited to play the team? Like, do you feel good about it, Adam? Like,
I like this team. After I dropped Scully, I felt much better about it.
Yeah,
fair.
I like this team too. I'm excited to see you play it because this. Like,
it'll be fun. I've got some plans.
Now that we have, of course, aggressively torn Adam to pieces by saying that we all like his team, shall we move on to Indiana? Or Indianapolis, rather.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Indianapolis Ponytas. Let me read the roster out for you all. All right. Mega Pinsir. The Mega. Tier 1, Excadrill. Tier 2, Tangrowth. Tier 3, Rotom Heat. Tier 3, Uxie. Tier 4, Hitmonlee. Tier 5, Golbat. Free slot 1, Araquanid. Free slot 2, Tyranitar. Free slot 3, Exploud. Free slot 4, Comfey. And that's going to finish out that roster. Comfey was picked up on a free agent transaction. I think it's a good pickup for this team. It gets that priority heals, good support mon if you need it to be. Base 100 speed, which is relevant. Yes.
Yeah, which this team does need.
Yes.
I mean, Golbat's a good fighting resist, but it doesn't like other things.
Uxie's a decent fighting resist. Araquanid's a good fighting resist.
But more of them helps here because
because T-Tar is very because they're a lot of their offensive presence, which is basically T-Tar and Excadrill with Mega Pinsir on the side. Well, I would say actually Mega Pinsir is one of the major parts of their offense,
and
but
those
like
three most of the time can tear holes through almost every team.
Yeah, and protecting that. Those mons is going to be important, and he's got a team that does that.
Yeah, Tangrowth Tangrowth and Araquanid fit fantastically on this team together. Just a great ground resist. Araquanid can provide sticky webs to make drill even harder even more ridiculous to revenge understand. Drill webs also helps out T-Tar and Pinsir on this team as well. Pinsir is just kind of awful to deal with against this team. And
notable.
Is just fantastic on webs.
Outside of T-Tar and Rotom Heat, there's not a lot of anti-air on this team either. And also, other than Mega Pinsir and Golbat, and that's Mega Pinsir if it's already Mega Evolved. That's like
anti-air like
flying resists.
Well, not necessarily flying resists, just things that are good against flyers. Like, super effective. Like
I was just gonna throw out there that this man has Tyranitar.
I said outside of Tyranitar and Rotom Heat.
Yeah, but like, what else do you need?
I mean, I'm saying
he's got a drill in the back.
I'm not saying that's not all you need. I'm just saying that those are what he has, and I don't know.
He's got that Rotom there as well. I think that there's a lot of actually really great flying resists here.
I'm not saying. All right, whatever. Anyway.
So what do you define as anti-air?
No, that's not. No, forget it. We're not getting into this because because I have a vision in my mind of what I want to say. I don't know what words to put it in, so we're just gonna move on. One thing I did notice though is also He's got only one toxic immunity, or two toxic immunities. He's got Excadrill and Golbat on this team. So toxic could be a thing.
Thankfully, that he has Uxie and Comfey both there with Heal Bell.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, so I guess and that definitely defrays that issue quite a bit. Yeah, and actually, this team's got a pretty good balance to it.
It's really annoying to prep for, coming from the person who just finished prepping.
Well, it's actually because like
broken.
you've got a decent amount of like you've got a couple major fighting weaknesses with like Excadrill, T-Tar, Exploud is also fighting weak, but then you've got just a pile of fighting resists, and they're all really good fighting resists. So
yeah, Crobat takes 0 from any fighting type hit you ever want to send its way.
He also has a really good web setter. Araquanid is a very good web setter, and so that's gonna benefit his team. That's gonna like certain like speed ties or like certain speed tiers are gonna fall under Excadrill with that sticky webs up. And that's gonna be a problem. Scarfers might fall this way.
Yeah, having webs for this team, of course, is just fantastic because, like you said, having like Scarfers back at their normal speed tier, having mons below their regular speed tier, especially when there's an Excadrill out there, especially when you've got like, Mega Pinsir appreciates being faster than everything. Tyranitar on webs is a dangerous thing.
Yeah. Because he's got a lot of like he's kind of got a lot of stuff in kind of that median speed tier where it's like not quite in the hundreds. Well, it's not like quite up to 100, but it's not lower than like 70. He's kind of got that weird speed tier going, and that speed tier really likes having webs up because stuff starts dropping down.
Yeah, I love that. Like we can talk about Tangrowth as well a whole lot and go on about that thing because like Clutch pointed this out that like Pack went and drafted like the thing that is probably best at stopping T-Tar and Drill.
Yep.
In tandem, like just went and picked it up. No big deal. I mean, you can run like special T-Tar to try and get around it and stuff, but like still, it's just it's great to have on the team, especially just to kind of form a backbone for it. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good pivot for this team. It deals with like bulky water types. It helps like it walls out bulky waters. So you can just pop Leech Seed on them and wall them into the ground, which is beneficial for T-Tar. And it's also beneficial for other stuff on the team. Excadrill doesn't like water types running around. And Rotom Heat Rotom Heat is really good here too because he doesn't like grass either. Having Rotom Heat out there is gonna really benefit him in that regard. Mega Pinsir deals with grass types very well as well. So he's got honestly his offensive core is frightening. Mega Pinsir, Excadrill, and T-Tar is a brutal offensive core.
All right.
Get that sand up and just sweep.
Have we talked about this team up and down really? Like Hitmonlee's nice in the back.
Yeah.
Exploud is just a great breaker.
Yep.
Anything else to say?
Not much. I mean, he's got he might have to worry if the other team's packing a really good spin blocker. Because most of his hazard removal is spinners. Excadrill. Well, no, he's got Comfey in the back. Actually, Comfey was a really good pickup for him because that's going to give him a second defogger. Yeah.
Rotom Heat are all good defoggers.
Ah, yeah, I forgot Rotom Heat gets defog. I forgot all the Rotom 4s get defog. I should know this because I have a Rotom on my team. I've had Rotoms on my team. Anyway.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have Rotoms on many teams. Anyway, moving on to the Georgia Tech B-Drills coached by Nadia.
Ooh.
Mega Absol is the Mega. Tier 1, Manaphy. Tier 2, MagneZONE. Tier 3, Swampert. Tier 3, Chestnut. Tier 4, Slurpuff. Tier 5, Gourgeist. Free slot 1, Latias. Free slot 2, Salazzle. Free slot 3, Kangaskhan. Free slot 4, Mesprit. Pretty interesting team. I actually really like this team. It's got one thing it's got is a really good mid-tier Firewater Grass core with Chestnut, Swampert, and Salazzle.
Yeah, Salazzle coverage really well. They set up a lot of hazards for Manaphy and Lottie. Zone's really good at trapping the steals that Lottie is like breaking through.
Yep.
Mega Absol is just dangerous in the late game, especially if they're Manaphy breaking for it in the early mid game.
Yeah.
And that can literally just go vice versa too, where Absol breaks for Manaphy.
And there's just a Latias there too. It's just so threatening to deal with.
Yeah.
I like this team a lot.
Yeah, this team is going to be...
Not to mention she sniped 1, 2, 3, 4 of my draft plan.
Yeah, Mesprit in the back as well as a bulky psychic, so Lottie can do a lot more like offensive things. I think is really, really clever. Slurpup's just dangerous in the back as a fairy type, as a drummer, as a sticky webber, as a weird calm mind thing.
What I really like is the fact that she has Gourgeist, allowing Chestnut to go offensive, run that Belly Drum Salad Berry set.
Ooh, that's the set.
Yeah, she's got a lot of options here. Her team is definitely on the less bulky side, not least bulky or anything like that. I'm not saying it doesn't have bulk. It does. It very much does. But I would say it's on the less bulky side for a lot of these teams. I think it's closer to what I would call true balance.
I mean, I think Nadia just likes that more offensive.
Yeah, no, and that's I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just noting that this is one of the less bulky teams out there. But like, it's still got some, it's got stuff that can tank for like what she's gonna need to tank. Like it's got the bulk where it counts, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at here.
Sometimes that's just all you need.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially when you're running like an offensive balance sort of list, or even like a closer to like, I guess it's not hyper offense. I don't think I would classify this as hyper offense, but it's definitely like it's on the offense. It's offense. It's good offense. I mean, Chestnut, great offensive mon. Latias can be offensive. Salazzle kind of has no choice.
Yeah.
Notable with Salazzle, it gets corrosion, which means that it gets to click toxic pretty freely if you need it to.
Yeah. Salazzle's kind of weird because, like, I know that there was a conversation that happened about this in the server the other day where people were like, well, what's the point of toxicking something? Because if it's a steel type, why wouldn't you just click flamethrower or HP ground if it's Heatran? And it's true to an extent, but like I think that it's just not a bad filler slot. It's one of those things where, like, if your opponent thinks that you're choice locked, click toxic as they switch in that Milotic, and if they switch in their steel type thinking that you're going for the poison move, like, you're still going to toxic them. It doesn't see as much use as it might on something else.
Yeah.
But like a bulky water with this ability would be dumb.
On something like
Quillfish
against things like Mega Venusaur, like it's really, really good for stuff like that. Like,
that's true.
Things it doesn't break through naturally.
I hadn't thought of that. It can toxic Mega Venusaur. I just think about the steel types. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's corrosion it gives it a lot of well, I won't say a lot, but it gives it an interesting like kind of like utility slot that not a lot else fills. And it's not something that's going to come up every match. It's not even something that would come up like, 9 out of 10 matches, but it's something that could come up every once in a while where that Salazzle might want to do that. And the fact that Salazzle can do that when that situation arises is very helpful. I mean, it's not like that's the only thing Salazzle can do either. As we established, you can click Flamethrower, and it hits hard. It's fast. Good offensive typing with Poison, Fire. Like handcrafted to kill fairy types. So, and when you partner that up with like you got Gourgeist, you got Swampert covers those weaknesses real well.
There's a MagneZOne chilling in the back too.
Yeah, like she's got a pretty good roster for this.
I was really excited about because she mentioned to me when like she was discussing her draft plan. She was putting it together all by herself, like kind of figuring stuff out before she went for any sort of outside help. And she mentioned that she wanted to draft Latias and MagneZOne and Manaphy. Like those were it seemed like those were kind of her like primary ideas. And I was actually kind of excited about the idea of like, drafting like drafting a set like a Calm Mind setup dragon like Latias and with MagneZONE, that's kind of fun. It makes people think twice about bringing their Caesar or twice about bringing their Steel type because it's like it can be trap fodder.
Mm-hmm.
And just freeing up a move slot on a lot of teams so it doesn't have to run HP fire or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Break through, like a Scissor or a Parathorn or something like that. Just
it'll be really interesting to see like I'll like bring this up with Nadia, but like if she gets like good at like calling those switches and like doubling into MagneZONE, when you can call the switch and double, especially when you can do it kind of from a position of like safety, like if you're switching into something that probably
can't
like MagneZONE that can't touch zone anyway, recognizing those situations, it's a big threat because when you can get MagneZONE in for free, it hits hard.
It's definitely something that I have to plan for, like, because in this league, every coach faces every other coach once.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on for team, for sure, when I have to prep for this.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to the next team, the Colorado Agrons, coached by Earthlab. They're Mega Caesar, Tier 1, Clefable, Tier 2, Raikou, Tier 3, Donphan, Tier 3, Talonflame, Tier 4, Mismagius, Tier 5, Licky, Free Slot 1, Latios, Free Slot 2, Toxapex, Free Slot 3, Scrafty, Free Slot 4, Leavanny. So this is an interesting team. Notably picking up one of the Lotties. No, it should be noted that both Megas and both regular forms of the Lotties have been picked.
Why did we let Mega Scizor go with Clefable and Latios?
Yeah, that's going to be a brutal Fairy Steel Dragon core to break through.
And then he just happens to have a Toxapex chilling back there.
Yeah. Toxapex to supplement that BS.
When he has literally zero psychic weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And really good psychic checks.
Good.
Yeah.
He has like a ground weakness besides that thing and like 3 immunities and resistances. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I would say that like as much as like he doesn't have any other psychic weaknesses, he does only he has 3 good resists, Latios, Scizor, and of course he has Scrafty for the immunity.
Mm-hmm.
He also has webs, with Leavanny.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a budget web setter.
This is a team that really could benefit having webs on the field. Latios, of course, already fast, but definitely likes having those webs up. Donphan's going to enjoy things getting brought down to its level. Raikou is going to like being faster than certain things.
Scrafty with 1D dance.
Yep, Scrafty with 1D dance suddenly becomes a lot more dangerous when those webs are up.
I think this team just struggles to have like offensive like cleaning potential. It's a lot of breakers, but like there's not a lot that can come in later game.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm relying a lot more on like a Mega Caesar to do a lot of work for this team to get. Their late game cleaning is gonna. You have like Talonflame and Raikou, kind of like more breakers than they are cleaners or sweepers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if you line up the right Scarfer as the with this team, like if you like with whether that's like Mismagius or Latios or something, you can clean someone's house at the edge.
Yeah,
you can
definitely.
But the difficulty, of course, is that things like I think Mismagius actually kind of has potential in that area just because ghost resists are kind of like
not that great.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of teams don't. Yeah, a lot of teams don't pack good ghost resists, and that's kind of the benefit of drafting a decent offensive ghost in league. Yeah. Now, and it's of course the speed tier is nice as well. 105 is great to just like once like if their Scarfer's gone, you click the button.
You're on webs.
Or if you're on webs,
Yep.
Then you click the nasty plot button and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like we haven't been mentioning Z captains, but Latios and Talonflame are the Z captains here, and like Talonflame is kind of an interesting Z captain. If they can keep.
You can kind of lead off and just disrupt a lot of team.
Yeah,
that's true because it's like you're going first no matter what.
Well, that's the thing. If you get that Gale Force Supersonic Sky Strike, that was what I was running Talonflame a lot in season 1 of RDL, It's pretty useful. Basically having a priority Z move is just nuts.
Show me your flying switches. The nice thing as well is that Talonflame. So go ahead.
I don't have any.
Yeah. So okay.
I do.
I think that it's nice that he because Talonflame. I think we give Talonflame kind of a lot of crap now because Gale Wings got nerfed.
Yeah.
And, not as good as it used to be. It's true, but putting it next to Caesar, namely Mega Caesar, which is just such a consistent defogger. You don't have to bring Talonflame every week, but when you do, you can pair it with something that very consistently gets rocks off the field.
He only has a couple of defoggers in this team. He only has Mega Caesar and Lottie. And he has Dolphin and Rabbit Spin as well. That's it's kind of limited, but they're all very good at
Yeah. Donphan is one of the things that I feel like in this era it's harder to get Rapid Spin off, but Donphan is something that can actually kind of do it consistently.
Yeah.
At least he has
access to knock-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notably, Donphan also has access to Ice Shard, which can sneak up on some people. I know it snuck up on me season 1 of RDL. Stares at Clutch somehow. Yeah, I mean, the other nice thing is he's packing Licky Licky, which is a good, ghost immunity to have. Or it's decent ghost immunity, which could really help, especially if you can predict the ghost type move against Miss Magus. That could be helpful. So, yeah.
And Licky Licky's just good in general.
Yeah, Licky Licky is a good mon. I like Licky Licky.
It's a good budget tier 5. It Wish passes, which does. I mean, the team kind of Donphan appreciates Wish Pass.
Not many reliable Wish Passers at tier 5.
Clef can technically Wish Pass too.
Yeah, Clef can Wish Pass as well.
I don't remember how the
Clef is weird as far Clef is a weird utility mon because it can do a lot. It can set stealth rocks. It's a good rock setter. It's a good Wish Passer. It can work cleric duty. Gets heal bell.
I see Clef more as a pain in the ass thing. Palm Mining Moonblast on teams in 6-0s.
Yeah. I mean, it can run that
cosmic power set. Yeah.
That's the thing. You don't always know what Clef is gonna do to you.
You don't ever know what Clef's gonna do to you.
Oh man, that's ominous.
Yeah.
Clef takes one of those things you have to really scout it.
It's look at how cute this thing is. It's still gonna take you into a dark alley and take your wallet
and shank you. Yeah.
I
mean, there's a reason that its shadow turns into Gengar.
Facts. All right. Does that cover it for that division?
I think so. Yep. That's the end of that division. What is that division? Kanto?
Good guess.
Yeah. So we're into Johto now. Sorry, the color codes are different for every league.
That was kind of the point.
Yeah.
The good news is that guess what? That means we get to talk about me.
Yeah, we get to talk about Sam's team. I'll remember the Z captains from here on out as well. But first, let's read the whole roster. So Mega is Mega Latias. Volcanion, Tier 1. Tier 2, Mimikyu. Tier 3, Cobalion. Tier 3, Roserade. Tier 4, Electros. Tier 5, Steelix. Free slot 1, Mandibuzz. Free slot 2, Vaporeon. Free slot 3, Diggersby. Free slot 4, Excelgor.
So you just didn't want any water weaknesses.
And there's the Z captains for Seattle, Mimikyu and Cobalion.
I mean, Steelix and Diggersby are there.
You have 2 immunities and what?
A lot of resistance.
3 resistances?
Yeah. Water is going to be a tough bring against you.
I think just 2 resistances. Roserade and Mega Latias.
Cobalion?
Very good resistance. Huh?
No, come on.
Oh no, it goes the other way. Never mind.
Yep.
Yep. But no, I'm actually kind of excited about this team because it's a little bit of it's a different flavor than I've brought before. It's I think you hear people say this a lot. It's I drafted a lot of mons that I don't use much, but this is there's a lot of things that are new to me. I'm really excited about it. It's bulk in some different areas. People who know me well know that I typically kind of stick to conventional fire, water, grass cores a little bit, and this is kind of not that. Because Volcanion, I still have like Vaporeon and Roserade and stuff, but like my bulk, kind of the center of the team bulk wise is going to be Latias, Mandibuzz, and Cobalion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mega Latias, just brutal already. We there was some spirited discussion as to whether or not Mega Latias should be banned, and it is one of those discussions that you find frequently in Mons where a Mon could be like, there's really good arguments either way.
But due to the vote,
yes. So majority of coaches in this league agree Mega Latias should not be banned, and thus here it is on Sam's team. Mimikyu is a good combo with Mega Latias. That Ghost Fairy typing, pretty solid. Mandibuzz is also good.
I don't think we mentioned the Volcanion sitting in the back to collect buttons.
Oh, I wasn't gonna leave that boy out. Volcanion is.
I just think Volcanion does such a great break on this team as it.
Oh yeah.
It kind of forces in dragons, and Mimikyu really relishes the chance to come out with those dragons.
Yeah, definitely.
Start to get in on teams.
Yeah, Volcanion is definitely going to be a very big player on this roster for sure. Definitely going to see a lot of usage here. I mean, Volcanion sees a lot of usage. I would hope a lot of usage on just about any team you put it on. It's a really good mon. Usually has, it's tough to. There's usually not a lot of teams that are a necessarily bad matchup for Volcanion. Notably because that water immunity is just like a fire type that's a really heavy hitting fire type that's immune to water is very tough to deal with. It's hard to switch into it. Burns happen a lot, and it has its main, its primary stab water move also is basically just Scald on steroids.
Yeah. I wanted to get a web setter on this team because Mimikyu appreciates it, Diggersby appreciates it, Volk appreciates it, but I didn't really end up having the room at the end. The other thing was just that I grabbed Excelgor and Roserade, which I'm kind of excited about the potential I have to set hazards here. I've got, and also tier 5 Steelix is kind of it was kind of the last thing that got picked for this team. Clutch brought it up to me is because we were bargain binning hard. And the thing is, having a steel type to put next to Cobalion so that the Cobalion doesn't have to shoulder the load of being the sole steel type on the team is just fantastic. Because it opens up Cobalion to not have to run rocks. Sometimes it really does free things up. So yeah,
definitely.
I'm happy with how this draft was a disaster for me in terms of getting sniped, but the end product is something that I'm actually very excited to use.
Yeah, this is. I mean, yes, I've seen worse teams thrown together, cobbled together from snipes. So.
Yeah, echoes of Neek's season 2 team. Neek actually wrote to me and was like, "Hey, you drafted the same core as I did in season 2. Is that a coincidence?" And I was like, kind of. Clutch and I threw this together and then looked at it and we were like, this is kind of Neek's team.
Yeah. Well,
Mimikyu, Cobalion, Megaladios, or one of the Megalades.
It's that meme where it's like, hey, can I copy your homework? All right, just change enough so it doesn't look exactly like it.
It's only that core that's the intersection,
yeah.
And then it's interesting because we went different ways with the follow-up
support. The support for the core, for sure. I like Diggersby. I love Diggersby. Diggersby is my boy. Ever since using him in RDL season 3, I have gained a very large appreciation for this boy.
The nice thing that went with knowing that I was going to grab Diggersby, or just kind of assuming it, is that it falls in drafts a lot.
It does. It's a very slept on mon, which I think is a shame.
You're actually the only person I've seen pick it in a Wi-Fi league. I saw one person pick it in PCL specifically, and they dropped it. So it's on the board a lot. It's a great breaker. I think people kind of underestimate it.
Well, I think people look at those stats. They look at the stats and they think, oh, this is no bueno. And maybe they think about huge power, but then they look at the speed isn't quite up to what a lot of people would consider up to snuff. But I counter with it's got great dual stab for offense.
It's also 1 point faster than Heatran.
It's
so,
also
like,
1 point faster than Heatran. And
if Heatran's fast enough for you, then
this thing is a prime
Diggersby
Scarf
is as well.
target. And huge power means that this thing hits real hard. I remember nuking an Eviolite Clefairy from full health with an unboosted Facade. I had Flame Orb up, hit it with Facade, no boost or anything, and just crushed this Clefairy. And that's now, and you know it's a Clefairy, but it's Eviolite. Like it's still pretty physically bulky, and just annihilating it in one shot. Brutal. This thing hits really hard. Like it's got a pretty hard hitting quick attack on top of that. So like it's got the hard hitting priority. It learns U-turn, which is great. It's good banded. It's good scarfed. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and this team does, like, I wanted to throw another good Scarfer on there. Like, Diggersby does a good job. Volcanion can run a Scarf.
Rosary can sneak up as a Scarf.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was joking with Cossack earlier today that y'all are gonna have to expect to Scarf Vaporeon when you least expect it.
Well, I mean, hey, there's no item limit in this league, so you could
sure.
you could run 3 Scarfers. That option is available to you. You don't really need to though, because you have Excelgor, which let's not sleep on Excelgor. This guy is fast spike setter, decently hard hitter. Like he hits pretty decently hard on the special side.
Base 100's nice. He doesn't really have much in the way of coverage, but that's like it relies on Focus Blast if it's gonna like hit things with non-bug stab. It's got like Water Shuriken, which is kind of weird and not like that great for it.
No.
I also I could talk about everything on this team. I'm excited to use Mimikyu and all, but like Electros is kind of low key important. There's not a whole ton of Volt Turn here. Certainly not like any stab Volt Turn. I mean, I guess it's stab for Excelgor, but Excelgor's U-turn is going to do nothing. But like I like Electros in that slot as well. It's just like this thing that can pivot a little bit, can be a slow Volt Turn for Volcanion, for Mimikyu, for Cobalion, for Megalodios.
For Diggersby. Diggersby likes that slow Volt. Yeah, no, this is going to be an entertaining team to watch. It also gives me more info on Mandibuzz. I do like seeing Mandibuzz used because I am thinking about picking that up in another league sometime in the future.
It just takes hits, and in this team, it takes the hits that I want it to.
Yep. So. All right, so let's move on. We've gushed enough. Let's move on to the Waynesboro Gallades, coached by Ethan. And Mega Aggron is the Mega here. Victini, Tier 1. Tier 2, Como-O. Tier 3, Tentacruel. Tier 3, Greninja. Tier 4, Rabombi. Tier 5, Blossom. Free slot 1, Zeraora. Free slot 2, Mew. Free slot 3, Palisand. Free slot 4, Piloswine. An interesting team. I do like Mega Aggron. Mega Aggron is just is great Mega. That Mono Steel type is good defensive typing. It gets a great ability to help keep it, help it tank. It's a heavy hitter. Very tough to deal with.
Mono Steel Stab isn't great offensively, but Heavy Slam hurts.
Mono Steel type not so great offensively, but you're wanting this more for defense anyway. The fact that
the team is just so weak to Earthquake, though, it almost like is.
That's true.
Like your resist are Rabombi and Blossom at this current team.
Yeah,
and that's almost kind of a joke.
Well,
big strong ground type comes in. Like either A gets a boost or just clicks Choice Band or Earthquake on this team. It's almost a free click.
The other thing that I notice here, and it's that on the top end here, other than like I guess Como-O, but he's got mons that hit reasonably hard, but they're not breakers. Like Como-O
is definitely a breaker.
Well, okay, Victini is, yes. I forgot about Victini with the Z move with downs, or the Z move with downsides.
Z move with downsides.
But like Zeraora, not really a breaker, but Zeraora is it's a fast electric type. Notably, can 1v1 Tapu Koko. So,
I think
which will be really helpful for this team.
Yeah, the nice thing about Victini is it is like it can fill the breaker role and everything. But other than that, I think that you're kind of jabbing at something that is really important with this team. That is, in order to break things, they're going to require like Como needs to get boosts, or something needs to run band or specs. You can run banded Zero, or you can run banded Victini. You could run some kind of weird breaker Mew set. You can run specs Greninja, but that that in itself can be a little bit limiting, especially when your banded mons are a little bit easier to switch into.
And Mew is gonna have to go defensive more with this team.
Facts.
Yeah,
that's true.
This team's rockers, he has good rockers, but defoggers wise, it's Rabombi, there's a Tentacle for spin, and then there's Mew for defog. And the team really doesn't appreciate rock speed.
And I think that's where you have to question Mew and Como are the Z captains, right?
Yes.
And
I forgot to mention that. My apologies. Mew and Como are in fact the Z captains here.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing is that I'm not sure if he'll get a couple weeks where he can maybe run Munium Z and have some fun, but if Mew if Mew's kind of confined to its defensive role, I feel like Zero or Victini would have been a better pick. You feel me?
Yeah. The other minor issue that I could see here is there is bulk here, but the problem is I think he might end up being too reliant on low tier bulk. It's not to say low tier bulk doesn't have a purpose. It has a place. Palisand is a bulky mon. Palisand has serviceable bulk. Blossom has serviceable bulk. Piloswine can be bulky where it counts, but Piloswine gets chipped down easy. And while Blossom and Palisand are both reasonably bulky, they're best when they're partnered with another bulky mon, and the only other one he's got is Mega Aggron, and Mega Aggron doesn't have reliable recovery. Mega Aggron is also susceptible to chip. So I think there might be weeks where he's going to be struggling to break a bulkier team, and they're going to put him in an attrition battle and wear him down.
And yeah, I think Clutch is right. Banded Earthquakes are a problem for this team.
Yes.
Blossom will switch in, and but if I imagine that
if you're running Blossom, you switch into just an Earthquake. You're missing on either a threat or something.
Yeah, that's true. Because and because what does Blossom do other than
it has Quiver, I think.
No, it doesn't.
Sam
looked
and I
this
had
up earlier.
Yeah.
Because Blossom came up earlier today, and I pulled it up, and everyone thinks it gets Quiver Dance. And everyone's thinking of Lilligant.
Yeah.
Because they're basically the same Pokemon.
No, it says Quiver Dance right here.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it gets Quiver Dance.
Oh.
I control F'd it on Cerebi. Holy cow.
Just pull up the showdown.
Okay.
Yeah, so
well, look at
it also gets Drain Punch for some reason.
It does.
Those hands are not big enough to punch anything.
Yeah, no, they're not. But
I see it on Smogone. Yeah, it does get Quiver Dance. No, that actually is
the heat.
It's probably because Bellossom doesn't get Quiver Dance. The pre-Evo does.
Oh.
And that's why it doesn't show up on Cerebi.
Yeah, so
no, but Cerebi's good
just
about
for an
that.
example here, Choice Band Guard.
I don't know, they've missed it before.
2 KO and no bulk Blossom after rocks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is that I did a calc earlier today, and it was a choice band, say Choice Band Mamoswine that locked into Earthquake is 2 KOs after rocks, right?
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain. This thing is not that bulky.
No.
That's out of my life for
yeah.
actually.
Another.
So, yeah, it will definitely.
You know what would maybe make this mon Calm Mind would make this mon a little bit better because it gets decent special coverage. It gets Dazzling Gleam. It gets Giga Drain. Yep. Yeah.
No, it's actually Sludge Bomb, but then that's it.
Well, that's true. That is usable special coverage, and it gets a decent base special stat.
He's gonna have to rely on Strength Sap a lot.
Yes.
He's gonna have to rely on just not letting ground types get set up.
Yeah.
True.
He's gonna end up relying on his pressure just to force people's hands. I think
Yeah.
there's a way out of. There's definitely he has ways out of this, laying around good ground types. He has to find a lot of ways to pressure them, and that's going to end up being hard in some weeks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because at least he has, you're right, at least he has Greninja, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very, very solid, very, very speedy water type that is going to revenge most ground types without issue.
Yeah. I'll agree with that statement. So that's about.
And he has things that will take one hit.
Yeah.
Palisand is sneaky bulky. Pilosword
Yeah.
is sneaky bulky. Mega Aggron will take one. Probably.
Like I remember when Mike ran weakness policy Palisand. That can really surprise people.
Palisade hits harder than people expect, I think, when they haven't played it much.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
But yeah, I think the team has pieces. Like, you know, he did really load up on. I mean, went 3 tier 1s. Man, I almost drafted Mew too. I was so disappointed.
Same. I almost got that Mew Concord.
Oof. All right, are we good to move on to Galesburg? To the returning Galesburg. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Galesburg rises again. Galesburg Gliscor is coached by Neek, although the team name says Neek on the sheet here. So Adam's probably going to fix that.
The team name is Neek. The friend code is Neek. The win-loss, Neek.
The availability is Neek.
Correct. Okay,
so the Mega is Mega Pidgeot. Yep. Tier 1, Infernape. Tier 2, Rotom Wash. Tier 3, Nidoqueen. Tier 3, Florges. Tier 4, Bronzong. Tier 5, Cryogonal. Free slot 1, Hoopa Unbound. Free slot 2, Goodra. Free slot 3, Mean Xiao. Free slot 4, Tangela. What a team.
Yeah.
Hoopa you on this like Volturn, just a little scary.
Yeah.
Great.
1, 2, 3, 4 U-turners / Volt Switchers.
Yeah.
It's something that's gonna get brought in. It's gonna claim something.
Yup. Yeah.
Mega Pidgeot's really great on this, just like 14 out like grass types. Wow,
yep.
It's really nice.
Yeah, this team's a problem. This team's a whole ass problem.
Really good Fairy Dragon Steel Bulk Core with Goodra, Bronzong, and Florges. That's a really tough core to break through.
I did not put like those 3 pieces together in my head until now. Wow.
Let's just say I have an eye for bulk and leave it at that.
Wait, Florges has what? 154 base special defense. Goodra's 150.
And Bronzong's got the physical side covered pretty well, so yeah.
Oh, no.
Add to that, you got Tangela with Eviolite. That's going to tank some hits. This is what I'm talking about.
On the physical side.
Yeah, on the physical side. Well, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like low tier bulk. Like Tangela works with the bulk on this team. It helps cover that physical side because Goodra can tank a surprising amount of physical hits, but not as well as it does special. And you usually want it tanking special hits versus physical hits. Same with Florges.
And it forms a regenerator core with Mean Xiao.
Yeah, which is not nothing. He's got defoggers with Rotom Wash, Mega Pidgeot, Florges, Cryogonal's a rapid spinner. So he's got really good hazard removal. Teams that are relying on rocks are going to have trouble keeping them up against this team.
The only thing I see that could potentially be a problem is speed tiers.
Yes,
it's like
was about to bring that up.
105 to 108, and then 80.
Yeah, so
he's definitely grouped.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no base 9, but there's nothing in the base 90s. Wow, I just
no, there's no base.
Rotom's 86.
Yeah, Rotom's 86. Nidoqueen's like 78. Hoopa's 80. And then he has like 105, 108, 115, 121.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like that missing 100 might hurt a bit.
Yeah, it definitely does. When you can park something like a Garchomp and then like add it pretty.
Oof. Yeah, actually, that's like exactly the problem.
Yeah. And like that's gonna like speed tiers having a pretty decent like balance of speed tiers is pretty important because it's going to keep things like what we just said from happening. Because yeah, Garchomp I could see Garchomp being an issue for this team right now. I could see.
Yeah.
It also.
Mind Xiao is really great in this team just to deal with because Ape is a great scarfer, but Mind Xiao also takes that pressure just off of Ape, so he can run more like setup oriented sets. while keeping Mineshaw away to run that Scarf roll as well.
Well, it also frees Ape up to run more of its coverage if it doesn't need to pack. Like, you could certain weeks if you need to like pack all coverage moves on Infernape. And I don't see a situation where you would want to do that, but if there is a situation, you could do it and run your fighting on Mineshaw and have a pretty good time with that. Hoopa Unbound is gonna just blow through you.
Hoopa U is just Hoopa U. It's a scary boy.
Yeah.
It's a scary boy.
Well, it hits so hard. It's brutal. Nidoqueen, good answer to opposing fairy types, and also good against electric types. He's got his electric resist, got a good fairy killer.
Ground type, good rocker.
Mm-hmm,
This team
good rocker.
has a couple of true rockers on this team. Infernape is a rocker, but I don't really count it as one. Just
no, because usually
it's so weird.
Usually you've got better options for rockers.
But like Nidoqueen and Bronzong, if I'm not missing anything, are the other two rockers.
I don't see anything else on this team that sets rocks.
Yeah.
So I think you're right.
But I mean, Nidoqueen and Bronzong are good rockers.
Yeah.
A lot of different matches, but it is something that is just a little bit limiting in that factor.
Yeah, that's true too. Because it does mean that a lot of times if you only see one of them, there's a better than even chance it's probably a rocker. Not all the time, but definitely if you're a team that maybe doesn't like rocks so much and you see either Nidoqueen or Bronzong, you can bet that whichever one it is probably is rocking. That's my guess. That's what I think anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there. Anyway, let's move on to the next team. And also, it's good to see Neek back at the helm on a team. So had to drop out for reasons from the RDL temporarily. So this will be an interesting team to fight. And with Neek piloting it, it's going to be a challenge for sure. Moving on to the Lancashire Luxrays, coached by FaZe or FaZadia. And the Mega Beedrill. Tier 1, Tapu Koko. Tier 2, Hydreigon. Tier 3, Doublade. Tier 3, Nidoking. Tier 4, Gligar. Tier 5, Tauros. Free slot 1, Entei. Free slot 2, Reuniclus. Free slot 3, Melodic. Free slot 4, Virizion. This is an interesting team.
Super offensive.
Yes.
Really, but then he has like Reuniclus, Melodic,
and
Virizion
even. He's got a ton of offense, but it's got great Volturn and Coco V, Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
Gligar can act in that spot as well. Tabarian needs really great breakers, and Entei and Nidoking on both sides hit ridiculously hard.
Yep.
Really good ways to clean up games in Beedrill, Coco.
Mm-hmm.
Reuniclus can clean it up late with Trick Room sets.
Yep.
Just another one of those teams you know is going to be a problem.
It's going to be annoying. It's going to be hard to catch this team.
Yeah, this team is going to come out of the gate swinging. Like this team is going to put the pressure on, and it's going to do its level best to keep that pressure on you. And like I think the key to beating this team is going to be to try and slow down the momentum of the match.
Getting Stealth Rocks up is super big.
Yes.
They only have a couple of defoggers.
Right.
Like a couple of them are kind of weird defoggers. Coco, Hydreigon are really kind of odd defoggers.
Yeah.
Gligar is really the only thing that on the team that kind of wants to run defog.
Yeah.
So that's the only real defogger I think on this team.
Yeah. It's going to be
Coco Beedrill, Hydra.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be kind of pressure to do that.
Right. And it's going to be one of those situations.
And if you can force it in the right spot, it is kind of a momentum stop for this team, and forcing to pick it back up that momentum is going to be a little tough.
Yeah, that's the challenge I see this team facing at least a couple times maybe this season. Is it's gonna there might be a situation might arise where rocks are up, momentum is, and they've lost the momentum, and now they have to try and fight an uphill battle to get that momentum back, and that can be a challenge for this team, especially with only one like real quote unquote defogger. But if on that flip side, if you can't get your rocks up, like if your rocker dies at the wrong spot, or if you don't have a good rocker, this team is going to be tough. They're going to put the pressure on, and if you can't find a way to quickly, you're going to have to do it quick too, because these guys are breaking you, and they're going to break you fast. So you've got to find your opening, and if you don't catch it, you're going to get swept. You're going to get, your walls will be broken, and the rest of your team is falling. Because he's got a lot of early game wall breakers, but he's also got a lot of late game sweep that's gonna be a real problem to deal with. So it'll be tough. I mean, because like he does have some stuff that is bulkier that can be used as pivots. Melodic is a pretty decent pivot. Dewblade can do pretty well as a physical pivot if you need it to. Reuniclus can.
This team's gonna be relying on like just kind of coming in, taking. It's gonna be a lot of like a lot of mental math. You're knowing how much damage your threats can take.
Right.
For like specific situations, because this team doesn't have a lot of good defensive pivots. It's gonna rely a lot on Melodic, a lot on Reuniclus, a lot on Gligar.
This is a team that I feel like in a lot of matches is going to be walking on a razor, like on the edge of a razor blade. They're going to be like, they're on that tightrope, and if they slip, it's probably over.
Yeah, they're gonna play pretty. It's gonna be. They're gonna have to play sharp, and if a couple missteps is gonna be it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
There are some weeks where I could see this team coming fully hyper offensive and just coming right out the gate turn one with the
like I could totally see this team coming out of the gates just going for the throat right off the bat, and it's gonna be tough to deal with if they do that, like with the right leads. Like I think facing this team, one of the most important decisions you have is what you're gonna lead against it, because if you lead the wrong mon, you're gonna have offensive pressure right off the bat, and you might not have an immediate response. You might lose a mon or two that you can't afford to lose in the early game trying to stop this momentum. So if nothing else, this will definitely be an entertaining team to watch one way or the other. This is a team that's definitely going to value having quick matches. If this team gets bogged down in a match, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So fast matches, that's what this team wants. Mega, by the way, wow. Z-Move captains Tapu Koko and Virizion. So moving on to Kansas City Kingdras, and I'm noticing something now, but I'll mention it later. But here we have Kansas City with Mega Audino as the Mega. Tier 1, Kyurem Black. Tier 2, Gothitelle. Tier 3, Alolan Marowak. Tier 3, Lycanroc Dusk. Tier 4, Blastoise. Tier 5, Pissimian. Free slot 1, Serperior. Free slot 2, Scizor. Free slot 3, Gliscor. And free slot 4, Alolan Persian. Z captains, before I forget again, is Kyurem Black and Serperior. This is a team that...
Let's not.
Yeah.
I don't want to face this team.
No. So
I really don't. Like, he's just gonna trap my answers to Kyurem or Scizor or Serperior or Alolan Marowak, and then he's just gonna run through me.
Yeah.
It's that, or he's gonna bring Calm Mind Mono-Psychic on his Gothitelle.
There's gonna be definitely some mind games when you're playing this team, because Gothitelle, like trappers in general, you're definitely incentivized to be very careful with and putting a lot of thought into your switches, because one false switch and yeah.
I just really like the potential synergy with Kyurem Black and Goth. That was kind of my whole starting point. Goth can deal with the fairies, the fairy types that Kyurem Black doesn't like. It doesn't like it just naturally deals with the poison type that kind of can help pseudo wall Serp, and it's just such one of those things I can bring in and kind of deal with opposing mons. Just get rid of them in any fashion I can.
Yeah.
Alola Whack and Kyurem Black are just really, really good breakers on this team. They both Alola Black can deal with the steel types for Kieran Black. Kieran Black can deal with pretty much everything else. Superior is a great cleaning. Scizor and Gliscor and hell, even Mega Audino are just such a great solid backbone.
Yeah.
Scizor,
I was
Scizor
actually
and Gliscor are a really solid defense.
I was going to mention that you have a pretty sweet Dragon Steel Fairy Core with Mega Audino there, because you got Mega Audino and Scizor to kind of take a lot of that offensive pressure off and allow you to get that Kieran Black in to start punching people.
I think Gliscor is just. I think I picked Gliscor. Gliscor was a weird pick for me. Not because it was a bad pick. It was actually a really good pick on this team.
Yeah.
But like, it was more the fact that like I didn't realize. I kind of forgot that Scizor was a tier 1 in this draft.
Yeah, which is why he has Mega Audino.
And I was kind of like calculating out my points. Like, there's no way I have like minus 20 points right now. And then I said, oh no, Scizor's tier 1, and I ended up with that Mega Audino. But like, Gliscor just puts in so much roll compression on this team that can allow it to do all the things I need it to. And I think it's really fantastic. Dust cleans on this team really well.
Yes.
Passimian's a good rock resist, going to perform a U-turn. This team has a lot of molt turn going for it. Mainly U-turn, like to bring in that big boy Kieran Black.
Yeah. And I think the key possibly to taking your team on is going to be finding a way to rapidly deal with Mega Audino or Scizor or both, depending on what you're bringing, to try and like open the way for your and also taking out Gothitelle. You've got a really good shell of Mons around your Kieran Black that's going to make it very difficult to get at the chocolatey center of the Tootsie Pop here. You're not gonna get to Kieran Black without going through Gothitelle, Mega Audino, or Scizor first, or any combination of those three. So you got hazard removal up the wazoo, because you got Gliscor, Scizor, Blastoise. You know, I guess well. Yeah, Superior. I forgot it. Yeah. So you've got really good hazard removal. Importantly, you have hazard removal that doesn't care about stealth rocks as much, which is always nice. And
I have a couple things that are weak rocks, but like they are my big threats.
And Passimian
touching rocks as much as possible.
Yeah, you got Passimian, who hits pretty well for a tier 5 and also is a pretty good scarf target to have. I know because I've had Passimian, and I like it as a scarfer. It's also just, it can occasionally, if you need it to, you can throw into some bulk, and it can tank a hit that maybe your opponent wasn't expecting it to tank, and crush it with a close combat real quick. So, and it's also a U-turner, which is pretty sweet when you combine that with like Scizor. There's a lot of good targets to pivot into with U-turn. So,
like Kieran Black.
Like Kieran Black, yes. Let's not forget Kieran Black. And you also got good taunt support. Alolan Persian is good taunt support.
Alolan Persian, Dust, Gliscor,
yeah,
all have access to taunt.
And they're all fast. They're fast. You've got a lot of fast taunters, which is
superior having access to taunt as well.
You've got a lot of taunt support. So, you know, hey,
when you have to use passive Mega Audino, it kind of helps.
Hey, person who has Cresselia, keep that in mind. This team has a lot of taunt, and it's not afraid to use it. So, moving on to the next team, which is the Diglets Down Under. And I gotta say, top tier team logo, all right?
An upside down Diglett.
Yep, it's perfect. Perfect. So Diglets Down Under, coached by Sakura. Did I mention? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so we're good. So Mega is Mega Manectric. Tier 1, Zygarde 50. Tier 2, Staraptor. Tier 3, Espeon. Tier 3, Chandelure. Tier 4, Drapion. Tier 5, Quagsire. Free slot 1, Terrakion. Free slot 2, Primarina. Free slot 3, Forretress. Free slot 4, Yanmega.
Super hyper offensive with just a tiny splash of bulk.
Yeah, just a splash. You've got Quagsire and Forretress basically being the majority of the bulk. Espeon can do some reasonably bulky-ish things. It can set screens, which definitely is going to assist in the bulk. It's also a good wish passer. And it's got other utility as well, of course. Chandelure, big breaker, but let's go to the top end here before we get too far down this list. Zygarde 50%, Staraptor, that's going to be tough to deal with because you got Staraptor hitting you from the air, Zygarde pounding you on the ground. A lot of teams that are going to have like there's a lot of fast electrics going around this league because all 3 of the tier 1 fast electrics got snatched. Tapu Koko, Zeraora, Raikou, those guys all got picked. Almost all the Rotom forms are running around in this league. All the good Rotom forms are floating around in this league for certain, and that means that 1,000 Arrows is going to get a lot of mileage in this league already, on top of just it being a powerful stab move off of Zygarde 50. So Zygarde 50 is something to watch out for. Terrakion is going to be really good here. It's going to, it deals with opposing flyers really well. If they can't switch into it as easily anyway. Fighting type, so it's going to be pounding out those steel types. In conjunction with Zygarde 50, you got Mega Manectric also, which is very fast, can deal with those bulky waters that Terrakion and Zygarde don't like. Primarina is also going to be pretty good switch into a lot of those breakers, and notably it's going to be good, or it's going to be, I'm fumbling over my words, but Primarina is going to be pretty good here as well. It builds out a pretty good core with Chandelure, and also fills out that Fairy Steel Dragon core with Forretress and Zygarde 50. Guys?
Yeah. And also the fact that Terrakion exists. Terrakion on this team is honestly super scary just as a Z captain.
I forgot to mention the Z captains again. I'm so bad at this. Chandelure and Terrakion are the Z captains.
Z Terrakion is honestly the most terrifying thing.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, kind of glad it's not Z Zygarde 50.
That's true too, but I don't know. Z Terrakion.
But Z Chandelure scares me enough. So
either or, honestly, it's just a lot.
Yeah. Sakura had a lot of good options for Z captains on this team.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think Terrak and Chandler are two of the best they could have found there.
Yeah.
Zygarde is one of those things that could be a Z captain. It could also just it can also just run a ton of other items. Yachi loves people to have leftovers on it.
Yep.
Very appreciative of other items as well.
Yep.
I can see Drapion actually putting in some work too, because it's semi-bulky and able to do a couple different roles.
Yeah, it should be. I just want to note real quick on the bulk side, she has Quagsire and Forretress, which are both physically bulky and not very specially bulky at all. So, they can both tank, a special hit where it might count. But like you said earlier, this is a very offensive oriented team. It's relying on that bulk for quick pivots or flipping the momentum on another offensive team. It's not so much going to be for tanking a lot of hits, at least not on the special side. Although Espeon does alleviate that somewhat.
I do want to throw in there as well with Drapion. It's an interesting mon. I just had it this season in RDL. You get more and less out of it than you think. It's nice. It has when you bring it, it has some interesting matchups. It's good when your opponent has a solid psychic or something, but it doesn't hit very hard. And if it's going to be checking psychics, it kind of wishes it was a little bit more especially bulky. So it's a good mon though.
Yeah. Although I will say she does have a pretty decent psychic check in Yanmega. Yanmega's not bad as a psychic check.
Yanmega is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not a lot of teams that can even bring a resist to that thing. You know, you need a quad resist to Bug Buzz to not take massive damage from that spec set.
Also, Chandelure is a pretty good psychic.
And I think that Chandelure and Yanmega in tandem mean that a lot of people are going to try and bring rocks against this team.
Yes. Oh, well, and of course, also with Staraptor. Yeah.
Yeah, Staraptor's another thing. There's a lot of breakers on this team and a lot of scary stuff that you would really like to be able to pack rocks for. And if Sakura brings Espeon, puts that in the back, like that makes people think twice about clicking rocks, right?
Mm-hmm,
and also you've got Fortress.
Just
you got Fortress, which as much as people say it's like setup bait, it's like it's still a consistent
it's a consistent spinner.
It's a fairly consistent spinner.
Well, it's about as consistent, I think, as you're going to get for spinners.
For sure. And we can argue about whether or not Fortress is good for sure, but well, we have two people who feel strongly opposite directions on this podcast. Even
not getting into this with Adam right now.
Well, I think
I just don't think it's that bad.
I don't that good.
I think it's fine at tier 3. I don't. It's one of those mons where I think it might be too good for tier 4, but it's definitely not good enough for tier 2.
No, I completely agree. It's not that great. It's really not.
No.
It's just like situationally okay for like
it does what
third of the matches.
It does what you need it to do usually. It does it does what you're putting it on your team to do reliably. Because what is it supposed to do a lot of the time? Not all the time, but a lot of the time. It's supposed to come in on a physical hit and spin off those hazards, and then usually it U-turns out and
Volt Switch, you mean?
Or Volt Switch. Yeah, that's right. It gets Volt Switch, which is weird. But yeah, if Volt Switch is... Yeah, not U-turn. The Bug Steel type with Volt Switch instead of U-turn. And it Volt Switches out. Actually, and I think that might be an issue, because there is a lot of good ground types rolling around. And so if this thing tries to Volt Switch on one of those things, like if that's... And they switch that in, which is possible.
You just are a little bit more wary with the click if there's a ground in the back, you're more inclined to like raw switch, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But I think I think most of the time it's going to do what she needs it to do.
Yeah. Run, normal gem, explode. Normal gem, explode. Best set. Easy. You get you live because of sturdy, you explode because you're a fortress, and you got a normal gem, so it hits like it's a choice band. It's a good set.
No, you just run Iron Ball, Gyro Ball.
Yeah, no. That set will body the right people, apparently. The right people.
It actually hits really hard, surprisingly.
Yeah, Fortress is actually like its attack stat is not like
unusable.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that about covers it for this team.
This is Sir Snipes a lot.
Yeah.
Sir Snipes.
It's
Facts.
Definitely sniped me and Adam pretty hard. This is Ohio Ninetales. Yeah, that's a team name you probably recognize, and the coach you'd recognize too, because it's Mike, the Natural 91, rocking his Mega, which is Mega Venusaur. Garchomp, Tier 1. Tier 2, Cresselia. Tier 3, Empoleon. Tier 3, Silvally. And I think Adam just had a stroke.
You okay?
Tier 4, Vikavolt.
Why did you make it sound like that?
Tier 5, Magmar. Free slot 1, Umbreon. Free slot 2, Smeargle. Free slot 3, Tornadus Eye. Free slot 4, Heracross. Now, Mike and I discussed his team in great length during and after the draft, so I kind of have a general idea of what his mindset was with drafting a lot of this. He was in that mindset. He's trying a lot of mons that he hasn't done before. He kind of wanted to go in a bulkier direction than he normally does. He certainly did that by sniping my Mega Venusaur, but he's got some power definitely because he sniped Adam's Garchomp. Which is also one of his Z captains. His Z captains are Garchomp and Tornadus Eye. This is going to be a rough team for me, at least, I think. He's got...
I'm so mad.
Yeah. Mega Venusaur and Cresselia as a bulk core is a pretty solid backbone. This is a very tough backbone to break through. Oh, I didn't forget Umbreon. I was going to say with the addition of Umbreon, it's just even worse to deal with. Empoleon... We've talked about it in the past on the podcast as Mon of the Week. This thing, it's got the bulk where it counts. Can defog. he can, he's got a lot of things he can do with Empoleon here. And Empoleon has a lot of synergies with this team. Vikavolt it can live hits that you don't expect it to live. Thinks of recent playoff games.
It can,
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Spoilers. We won't go into any more detail than that, but Tornadus Eye, tough mon to deal with as well. He's got a really good web setter with Smeargle, which his team really benefits from those webs. Silvally likes having those webs up. Garchomp really likes having those webs up. Garchomp is going to start eating things once those webs go up.
It eats without webs.
It eats without webs, but it eats even more with webs.
Get Guts Heracross a Swords Dance boost with webs up, and that's kind of probably game.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Set Heracross runs? Flame Facade.
Yeah, Flame Facade. Yeah. Santoro ran it against me.
At it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got guts. Pretty much. I'm not gonna do a full blanket statement, but pretty much all the Guts mons are good Flame Orb Facade users.
Well, yeah,
because that's kind of what Guts lends itself to.
It's a base 148. It's a base 148 attack when you're burned,
and it's a neutral hit on a wide portion of the metagame.
And the Guts boost is even better. It's great. It's a big deal. It's awful.
Yeah.
Don't do it to people. It's mean.
And notably, he has Umbreon, which is gonna do the number on a lot of ghost types that would normally wall that set. So he's got ways to deal with the ghosts. Vikavolt, we were talking about it earlier. It's one of those mons that its stats belie how bulky it usually ends up being, mainly because it's so stinking slow that you don't bother ever trying to speed tech it. So you just throw it. You just throw whatever, like your EVs into whatever bulk suits you, and then throw the rest into attack.
Occasionally, you'll run a little bit of speed to catch I don't know, like a 0-speed Jellicent or something like that. But sometimes you just say fuck it and run no speed. Because who's gonna speed tech a Vikavolt? Am I right?
Jesus,
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Shout out to Mike for FAing for Magmar. The goat Eviolite mon. Run Flame Body on that and make opponents rage.
Yeah, the thing is pretty tough to deal with that Eviolite on there. Good fire type. It's gonna help support that Vikavolt for sure. It's actually also gonna help that Heracross out quite a bit. And Empoleon is gonna help. A lot of mons. It's gonna help out Magmar a little bit. Magmar and Empoleon together are pretty tough to deal with. Garchomp
Wish Pass on this team from Umbreon. Umbreon doesn't have the greatest HP stat, but being able to pass stuff off to Emp, being able to pass stuff off to Magmar, they appreciate
even though it
stuff.
doesn't need it as much, being able to pass stuff off to Mega Venusaur is also good. That's gonna because Mega Venusaur, its recovery is Synthesis, and Synthesis is what I would call it. It's a tier 2 recovery move because the tier 1s are like your Roosts, your Slack Offs, your Recovers, where they got 16 PP, gives you a lot more walling potential, gives you more longevity in the stall. Yeah, and also less weather dependent. Where then you've got Moonlight and Synthesis, which fall into that tier 2 category. They only have 8 PP, so you can't wall as long with Mega Venusaur. Leech Seeds helps alleviate that somewhat. Giga Drain helps alleviate that somewhat. But having something that can Wish Pass to Mega Venusaur is gonna it's gonna allow you to not use up your Synthesis as fast. It's gonna give you a lot more wall potential on that. So that's not to be underestimated. But yeah, Vikavolt's definitely going to enjoy getting those wishes passed to it for sure. Same with Magmar. Two mons that are...
It's not like Vikavolt has Restrain.
No. Oh, it does?
It totally does.
See, I don't know. I don't know much about Vikavolt. I don't run into it very often, and I don't use it very often.
You don't see it that much because most people run AV.
Right.
Or Specs.
Yeah.
Yeah, which are both great sets, but like a Roost Life Orb is kind of good because like against the right teams, it's definitely like it can get some longevity. You know,
yeah,
it depends
definitely.
It really does depend on the matchup because I know that Clutch and I, like when we were prepping with the RDL team this season, like we looked for opportunities to run that, but sometimes they're a little bit sparse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes you run into having to run like Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Bug Buzz, and a Hidden Power.
Yeah.
Just because teams don't usually fall to just the dual stab.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
But I will say something to note with wow, my brain is just not working right now. Again, this is a frequent occurrence on the podcast. If you didn't know, check your bingo cards off now. Vikavolt does have the benefit of being an electric type with Levitate, which is tough to deal with on a lot of occasions. Because usually like one of your most reliable answers to electric types is ground type. But if if the electric type is levitating, well, you're gonna have some problems.
This is what the Rotom forums appreciate is that when you have an electric type that is levitating, you reap all the benefits of the resistances the electric has to flying, to steel, and you have none of the downsides. So, anyways.
So yeah, and Tornadus Eye also is going to be a difficult mon to deal with. It's
so good as a Z Cap.
Oh yeah, it's a great Z Captain. Yeah, this is another team that I think had some good options for Z Captains available to it, for sure.
I still think that Torn Eye and Garchomp stand out as the two.
Oh, they're the two best, but he does have a lot of other good. Like if he didn't have one of those, he does have other options for sure. But yeah, those are the two best ones.
Vika's a bit slow to take advantage, and but yeah, I think that those two just stand out to me far and away.
Well, definitely, and there's a reason why they're his Z captains. It's because of that. Like now, notably, Cresselia is a mon that Mike hasn't used much. He used it while I was co-coaching with him in the CTL, which is now defunct. So he has a decent idea of how Cress works. He's used it before, but not a lot. He does want to try it out. It was actually his fourth choice for a Bulkmon because all of his other choices got sniped. But, I mean, when you want bulk, Cresselia is a good option if you're just looking for sheer bulk, because Cress has that in spades. But like I was mentioning earlier, Mike's going to have to watch out for Taunt, because Taunt's going to prevent his Mega Venusaur from clicking Synthesis and Leech Seed. It's going to prevent his Cresselia from clicking Calm Minds or, things of that nature. It's going to prevent, Heracross from setting Swords Dance. This team doesn't like Taunt.
I will say though, if somebody taunts a Heracross and prevents a Swords Dance, the ball's on you.
Yeah.
If somebody Volt Switches on a setup mon.
Yeah.
After it's already set up, the ball's on you.
Yeah.
Big brain plays only.
Yeah. Well, another thing to note here is he has a really good Gloomon in Silvally. Silvally's going to fill a lot of niche slots that he might need against certain teams if there's coverage that he's missing. Silvally's going to do that for him. Get that parting shot, which is going to be really beneficial. It's going to stop, if he, for example, if he gets a parting shot off on Hydreigon, then suddenly Hydreigon isn't going to be able to break Cress, which can be really helpful. It allows Crest to come in and Moonblast it, potentially.
Maybe, yeah.
Or, at least force a switch that way.
Yeah, parting shot's good.
Yep. And it's got other moves. It's not a one trick pony per se, in the sense that it can do a lot of different typings anyway. So yeah, Silvally I think was a good kind of Gloomon to hold this team together. It was already really good. I think Silvally's going to help elevate that a little bit. So, yeah, I like this team. It's definitely less openly powerful than a lot of the teams Mike has had in the past. It's got a lot. Don't get me wrong. Garchomp is a standout. Mega Venusaur is a standout. But Heracross, we know how powerful Heracross is. But the rest of it doesn't really stand out as much as this is a power hitting. This is a heavy like hitting team. This is a power team, but I think it's gonna have that like it's gonna surprise people. I think for sure, especially with Mike. Mike's a pretty sneaky guy when he wants to be when it comes to teching and sets.
Yeah, and Mike's smart. He's got a lot of Mons knowledge. To the extent that like I feel like you mentioned that like he's new to Crest, but like Michael's not new to like competitive.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna like he'll pick this team up pretty well. I'm interested to see how he does with it because I definitely have like I feel like people who look at it are gonna have reservations about whether or not like Garchomp and Heracross can like kind of whether they can like really kind of thrive as the two breakers here. But like I don't bet against Mike. Like
no, there's a reason he's season 1 champ of the RDL, and there's a reason he's making a strong playoff run right now. Yeah,
there's a reason that he's he's done well in RDL this season as well. Mm-hmm. He's a good coach. I don't bet against him.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely.
On to Crazy Mangoes.
Yep, Crazy Mangoes. Team name Anaheim Mighty Golducks. I dig that. I also dig that he's using the my favorite Mighty Ducks logo.
Mm-hmm.
His Mega Blastoise. Tier 1 Tapu Bulu. Tier 2 Pelipper. Tier 3 Flygon. Tier 3 Incineroar. Tier 4 Registeel. Tier 5 Beartick. Free slot 1 Thundurus T. Free slot 2 Breloom. Free slot 3 Komala. Free slot 4 Aromatisse. This team has an interesting top end. He's got Mega Blastoise, which will benefit under the rain that Pelipper will be throwing down, and also benefits on the grassy terrain Tapu Bulu will be laying out. So he's got the carpet and he's got the ceiling in his little house that he's building here.
Sweet.
My metaphor is falling apart swiftly, so I'm just gonna let it fall.
So wait, Thundurus fires off. Yeah, Thunders are nice. Having a Volt Absorb user next to your Pelipper is nice.
Oh yeah.
This isn't like the funny thing is that this isn't like an openly rain abusing team.
No.
Like I mean, you got the Beartick in the back, of course.
Yeah. Beartick is also notably an interesting bring also. Well, it's good on this team because you can either run it with rain and Alola Ninetales is on a team. We mentioned it earlier. So Alola Ninetales, or other hail setters. There's a couple more that are, floating around out there. And Slush Rush is a good way. Like Beartick is a good mon to bring if you have Pelipper or Politoed because of the fact that it can run Slush Rush or Swift Swim. So if you're facing a team that has hail, they kind of have to think to themselves, what is Beartick gonna be bringing to the table? Is it gonna be bringing that Slush Rush? Is it gonna be bringing the rain, the Swift Swim? Like what are they doing here? Because it's also like in a way you can bluff the Swift Swim, get them to switch in their hail setter, and then suddenly Beartick comes in with any Slush Rush and just starts hitting things hard. Breloom is a good mon here. Breloom and Bulu together is an interesting combination. You've also got Registeel in the back. Good solid steel type, which I think this team is going to benefit from. Notable.
This team needs to watch out for a freeze dry.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch out for freeze dries. Something that is notable, though, that Thundurus T is actually going to be really helpful because this team is going to draw a lot of electric type spam against it otherwise.
He has the Flygon, he has the Bulu, he has the
does.
Breloom.
Oh yeah,
he does have the Resist.
Yeah, he does have the Resist. I forgot about Flygon. Wow. Yeah, Flygon, Thundo T, and Tapu Bulu is pretty good to stop the electric threat that he would normally have to worry about with Pelipper. I think Flygon is. I wouldn't say that Flygon abuses rain, but it definitely doesn't mind being under the rain most of the time.
Oh, why? I mean, I'm curious. I just don't see it. What does Flygon get from being in the rain?
Well, it doesn't get anything. I'm just saying it doesn't mind.
Well, yeah.
Like, I guess it. There was no reason for me to bring that up. So
doesn't it get hurricane?
Ignore. Oh wait, does it?
I don't think so.
I think those wings should get it.
It absolutely should, and it's a crime if it doesn't.
It does not.
But
that is a shame.
Not.
See, you were about to salvage me, and I appreciate for you trying to save me, Adam. But nothing can save Cossack from himself when he's rambling and his mind is wandering aimlessly.
What about Incineroar? Do you guys think that this is do you think Incineroar has a role in what's kind of a rain team? I mean, the thing is, I struggle to call it a rain team as well. It's like a single rain core.
I was about to say, like, one of the leading statements that I was going to say here is this: it doesn't, it's not a rain team as such. It's a team that sets rain and has a couple mons that certainly benefit from said rain.
I don't know. I feel like this team honestly is a little more diminished by rain.
You're right, because Flygon likes running Flamethrower, which is not gonna prosper under the rain. Incineroar.
Bulu's way of recovery is Synthesis. If you want.
Right.
To run that.
Mm-hmm.
That's limited by rain. Instant surely does not like it.
Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, the only thing. I mean, you have Beartick in the back. I just feel like there's other water types that could be beneficial in this kind of team.
Kingdra is still on the board. If he wanted to stick to the rain plan, he might want to consider dropping something for that.
Yeah, Mangos is also just a new coach. We don't know anything about how this person plays, and so
so they could surprise us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that sometimes coaches come in and they draft teams that the rest of us kind of look at and go like, hey, this doesn't seem to make sense to us, but and then they do something good with it,
Yeah.
And I think a good coach can outperform what seems to be kind of an iffy team.
Oh yeah.
It just seems disjointed. To me, it just seems disjointed. Like there's parts and parts that would go well.
Well, and there is the possibility that he got heavily sniped. That happened to a lot of people this draft.
Mango's definitely got sniped, for sure.
Well, you can tell, I think, but we'll see how this team performs going forward. And Mango's has, he's got a lot of free agent transactions. He can do and he might not need them. This might be a team that he's perfectly comfortable with using.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, this game as well. He had the 15th and 17th picks. He was one away from Wheel.
Yeah.
And he grabbed Bulu, and then all of us.
This is the other snipe that ruined Adam's draft plans. This is what this combined with the Garchomp snipe put him on tilt pretty hard.
My cores were Mega Gardevoir, Garchomp, and Tapu Bulu Heatran. As long as I got one, I was fine. No, both of them were sniped.
Yeah, both of his plans got tossed out the window very quickly.
The worst part was all of us hanging around in voice.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we because I think Clutch pointed out we got to the 14th pick, and Bulu Tran was still there.
Yeah.
And Clutch is like, yo, Adam might actually get Bulu Tran, and then we all prematurely got excited for Adam,
and then it got picked up, and we all started laughing, which is cool, but
because it was just tragic. There's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
This was maximum press F to pay respects for
especially because Adam comes back and sees that Bulu got sniped from.
Been out mowing.
Yeah, he'd been out doing adulting basically, and he comes back, and he's like, he's like, God damn it, and he's on tilt because Bulu got picked right before it was his turn to draft. And then I offhand mention, both your plans are out the window. And then you're like, wait, Garchomp got picked too?
I go into my showdown thing where I had my teams listed, just delete all of them. I actually deleted all of them.
I feel bad for you. You got sniped maybe the hardest of all. You definitely got sniped hard, that's for sure. But
so it comes to my pick, and I'm like, oh, time to figure out what I want to draft.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyways, moving on to you.
Yeah, moving on to my team, the Can-Am Drift Blims. Now, This is what I wanted to bring up earlier when I got to Clutch's
Everyone
team.
get out the roast hands.
Oh, I'm ready. But one thing I noticed is that each of the 4 MagneZONE hosts are in different conferences.
That was set up like that. You were the first 4 to join, and I literally just put us all in the dock.
There we go. I was gonna ask if that was intentional, so there we go.
I just put us in the dock and filled everything else in.
All right. Well, with that out of the way, Mega is Mega Altaria. Tier 1, Celesteela. Tier 2, Mamoswine. Tier 3, Amoonguss. Tier 3, Alolan Muck. Tier 4, Rhyperior. Tier 5, Archeops. Free slot 1, Slowbro. Free slot 2, Alakazam. Free slot 3, Rotom. And free slot 4, says Emboar, not Emboar anymore. Is Emboar. Sorry, I have Rhyperior. I remember I dropped Hariyama for Rhyperior. I got confused for a second there. My mind is addled.
Oh look, 9 Mons that have previously been on my draft teams before.
Well, a lot of these Mons have been on my draft teams before too.
No, you're right. I just find it funny. Wow.
It is an interesting thing, but like I've had Amoonguss on my team before. I had Amoonguss on my team before you had it on your team.
Yeah, you had it already all season 2.
Yeah, I had Alolan Muck season 3. Slowbro season 3, although I got rid of it after week 1, though he did work the 1 week that he was on my team. I've had some of these Mons before, not all of them, but I've also used Celesteela before. I actually used it in a VGC style tournament, and I've played with it a lot. So I played with it a lot using standard Smogon sets. I'm not as familiar with its moveset, but I'm surprised actually at the depth of its grass type coverage. It has a lot of grass type moves, like really good ones, like not just Leech Seed. It's got grass moves up the wazoo. But anyway,
Giga Drain, Energy Ball.
The original concept for this team was Semi-Stall, and I really wanted Mega Venusaur to fill out my core with Celesteela. But Mega Altaria is also really good. Celesteela, Mamoswine, Mega Altaria cover each other's weaknesses pretty well. Mega Altaria notably can be defensive or offensive, depending on what I need. So that's pretty useful to have. On top of that, I've got a brutal regen core with the Amoonguss and Slowbro. I do love me my Bromoonguss core. Got a good special pivot with Alolan Muck, and it's also going to help me shoot down fairy types that might be aiming for my Mega Altaria. Alakazam, I got speed this time, people. I didn't have to free agent for my speed for the first time in a long time in a Wi-Fi league. I have Alakazam. Like I said, I had Hariyama. Realized was told basically that Emboar and Hariyama basically fill the same role, but Emboar does it better. And I did like having the fire type better, so I ditched Hariyama and got me a Rhyperior. And then I have bargain basement, like, please buy this. We want to get it out of our stock. We don't want this anymore. Archeops. And
I'll trade you for Archeops.
No, I'm going to keep Archeops. I'm not saying...
Why are you complaining about it?
I'm not complaining. I'm stating a fact. It is the bargain basement Aerodactyl. It is the poorest of poor man's Aerodactyls.
You can have this Weezing, my guy.
No, I need Archeops. It fills a niche on my team that I think needs to be filled. And also have Rotom. So there are some things that with this team that I would like to change in the future with free agent transactions. I don't have a base 100 or anything like in that 90 to 100 range in speed tier, which does kind of leave me open in a cup in a.
You have Rotom.
Rotom is...
Well, yeah, that's right. I have Rotom at 91. Yeah, I'm an idiot. But
yeah, you don't have anything at 100 though.
I don't have anything at 100, which I would really like. Honestly, I'm kind of mad at myself because I had a perfect opportunity to pick up Comfey and didn't take it quick enough, and it got picked up before I could go for it.
Well, short side note: if you don't name that Alakazam Adam,
I named him already though.
God, but my Buzzwole is Neek.
Well, but like, I mean, yeah, you're Acheron Alakazams, but you haven't used Alakazam all that much recently.
I mean, I beat the shit out of people with it in RDL Season 1.
Yeah, in Season 1, but like, there's been Season 2, Season 3.
All right,
Alola
I'll draft it again.
I'm not saying like, I'm just saying it's not like when I think Alakazam, I don't immediately jump to Adam, and like the whole joke with the Buzzwole thing was because Neek nicknamed his me. So
I know.
like I'm sticking with the naming theme here. Like certain mons, like if I get Crocodile, I'm naming it Marv because
that's fair.
Shout out to our boy Omega. And like a lot of these mons, like I'm not gonna get into the nickname schemes on the mons. That's not what you're here for. But I like my team as a whole. I'm actually really excited to try this team out. I want to see these. I'm testing out some new concepts and ideas for my team. Like I said, the concept originally was semi-stall. I think I've kind of gone a little away from semi-stall, maybe just a little more into bulky O. But I think I can still kind of get there with the semi-stall if I need to in certain matchups. Because I really want, because I know stall as it stands, like stall as an archetype in like OU and UU does not work in draft very well at all. Usually. There's been occasions where it's worked, but very rarely does it actually work, mainly because everyone can just go for max power. They don't need to speed tech against you. It's not fun. And I was mentioning this earlier, like, having offensive threats on my team means that even if, and this is something that I think most people already knew, but I didn't because I didn't play a lot of competitive mons, but having those offense, and I didn't play a lot of draft league, and having really powerful offensive threats forces your opponents to make sure they can deal with those threats, because if they don't, they'll get run through by them. And you need that because that's going to allow your bulk to be, it's going to stretch your bulk farther, and it's going to allow you to maybe tech certain mons certain ways that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. And it also allows you to kind of get a better idea of what your opponent's probably going to bring against you. If that makes sense. If that wording of that concept makes sense. So, okay, guys, have at it.
Ooh. I like the regen core. I have that core in PCL right now, Slowbro Amoonguss, and when you put other things around it, it's great just because those two can switch into so much. Slowbro is like, I mean, there just aren't many physical hits that Slowbro fears. It doesn't really fear like X's, or it doesn't fear non-stab U-turns for the most part, unless it's coming from like a banded Darm or something.
Even then, with no, I have no. Well, actually,
I did the calc earlier today.
Yeah.
Because like I have Bro and, like I said, I have Bro and PCL, and it was like, well, banded Darm does to my Slowbro like 41-ish, 49-ish% with a U-turn, which is a lot, but like not even a 2-hit KO.
Yeah, and you slack most of that. Yeah, you either switch it out or you slack that off. Like,
yeah, you click slack off, and yeah, you probably switch out because if it just U-turns, something is coming in for you. But
yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, you usually just switch out and let the regen do its work. That's the thing with regen cores. They're very tough to deal with for that reason.
And of course, yeah, if you've got a electric type coming in that's targeting you, you can just go out to Amoonguss. It's going to take nothing from even like a Thunderbolt or a Bolt Switch. Or
yeah, and depending on how you spec your Amoonguss, like non-stab ice coverage doesn't do a lot to it either.
Yeah, it doesn't fear HP ice.
Nope, not at all.
Unless it's like from like a plus multiple boosts.
Yeah.
Like it's like a Thunderous Therian with like 2 nasty plots under its belt. Amoonguss starts to worry, but Clear Smog is a Clear Smog is a thing.
Yeah, Clear Smog is, and that's part of why Amoonguss is a good part of this this Regen Core is a lot of like setup threats, because I originally wanted Quagsire and that got sniped from me, but having Clear Smog and Amoonguss does kind of alleviate that, because I can haze off basically a lot of that. Although I can't do that against steel types, they're immune to Clear Smog, so that's something I have to watch out for. But I have MagneZONE for that. I have Embor for that. Like I think I've got the pressure I need to not have to worry about that as much.
Yeah, you do have a lot of things that make people think twice about steel types. Embor and MagneZONE, like they hit hard physically, and a lot of steel types are physically bulky. So it's like when you have like physical breakers that can beat a lot of steel types, that's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah. And the other thing I do like about getting rid of Hariyama is I get a slightly better fire resist out of the deal, because I had a lot of fire weaknesses. Still do have a lot of fire weaknesses on this team, and having that Rhyperior in there is going to really help out, I think, with that. Also, Rhyperior is a much more reliable rock setter than MagneZONE and Archeops. MagneZONE's a reliable rock setter, but you usually don't want to run rocks on MagneZONE. You'd rather run other stuff on MagneZONE. And Archeops, Archeops is gonna, if you're running Archeops as a rock setter, it's setting rocks, and that's about all you're gonna get out of it, because it doesn't take hits very well at all.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment, because like that's how I felt with like using Infernape recently. Is just that like Ape can set rocks and people count it as a rock setter, but just so often you don't want to be setting rocks with it. You'd rather be able to run it Scarf, or you'd rather be able to run it like setup, or especially, or it doesn't. These big offensive threats, you'd rather not have them being your setters, because in order to set rocks, you have to do nothing for a turn basically.
Yeah, and usually you don't want to be doing nothing with your breakers and your setup sweepers.
Exactly. You'd rather be throwing off attacks. You'd rather be making people afraid. You'd rather be doing something.
Yeah, and I've got a good team to support that kind of. And well, the other thing that I would like to note is I've got that regen core, and you talked about having good mons around the regen core, and I think I do have a good team around that regen core. I've got Embor's, it's a good mon to have with that regen core. I think Alolan Muck is also really nice to have with that regen core. And Celesteela with that regen core is tough to break. Like those three combined is very difficult to stop. So
I agree with that.
I really like my team, but I like bulk, and I'm interested to see how some of my experimentation with this team works.
Let's see. Adam, do you have any thoughts in particular?
No, you guys pretty much did everything I was thinking of.
The crazy thing to me,
it's just so slow to me. I don't know. I mean, you have your speed is so sensitive, Zam. But it's kind of just Zam, and like
Archeops is best.
Archeops is okay, but it's not. It's something you can like really rely on a consistent speed control, because if you someone gets rocks up in a couple of times, takes any hit, it's gonna drop to 50%. Going to defeat this, and you're gonna be.
Well, I wanted to free agent Hariyama for speed, and everyone's like, no, get Rhyperior, get Regirock, get Rhyperior. No, I'm not saying I could have ignored that advice, and we'll see how it goes. I like I said, I am possibly looking at picking up more speed with my remaining FATs, but I want to see how this works for the first couple weeks. We'll go from there. We'll see if the speed I got is enough speed, if that makes sense, or if I'm gonna have to alter some things. But anyway, I think that's enough waffling on about that. Let's move on to the San Jose Sharpedos, coached by Hive. And here's the other Megalodi. Megalodios is the Mega. Tapu Fini, Tier 1. Tier 2, Hawlucha. Tier 3, Darmanitan. Tier 3, Cloyster. Tier 4, Miltank. Tier 5, Stoutland. Free slot 1, Jirachi. Free slot 2, Alolan Ninetales. Free slot 3, Hitmontop. Free slot 4, Masquerain. Notable, the Alolan Ninetales was a pickup. He dropped Hippowdon, correct?
Yes.
For Alolan Ninetales. It'll be interesting to see. I face him week 1, so it'll be interesting to see how that works for his team. I think he might have benefited more from keeping Hippowdon, but we'll see how that goes. Jirachi, just versatile. You can do a lot with Jirachi. Scarf it, band it, specs it. You can pretty much slap any of the choice items on it. You can use it as a stealth rock setter. It's a really good stealth rock setter. Great for Toxic. Although on a team with Misty Terrain, maybe you're not running Toxic so much on it. Just all around solid Mon. I like Jirachi a lot. And Jirachi with Mega Latios and Tapu Fini becomes even more dangerous because you've got this wicked. You either got a really wicked offensive Fairy Steel Dragon core or a really wicked defensively oriented Fairy Steel Dragon core. So you kind of getting blasted on both ends. And lest we forget Hawlucha getting that Spadef boost from the Misty Terrain. So correct? Spadef boost?
That is correct.
Okay, I wanted to double check that. Sometimes I get that information mixed up in my head. But Hawlucha is going to be a good breaker for this team. This team is a weird team to me.
Can we talk about how Lucha throws off high jump kicks with those tiny feet?
Well, he's based on luchadors, and a lot of those luchadors are small guys.
Like the comics and things, like, or the stylization of the drawings and things like that.
Well, that too, but like if you look at like the WWE, you got like Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is not a big guy. He's not a big feet, and he launches drop kicks with like the greatest of ease.
I'm gonna go Google Rey Mysterio feet.
Okay.
You're gonna get somewhere you don't want to be.
I was gonna say.
I'm already somewhere I don't want to be. So
wow. Okay. Jeez.
I'm just kidding.
Wow. Okay, but like that's not
He's
all.
tiny,
like
yeah. But anyways.
But he also has Scarf. Well, he has Darm. I say Scarf Darm, but he has Darm. And Darm is a freight train.
It gets run Scarfed a lot.
It's very
because
frequently
of that. Like it's a fantastic speed tier.
Yeah, it's got a glorious Scarf speed tier, and its out of the box stopping power is so high that scarfing it is frequently not a problem. Like you're not usually sacrificing. I mean, you are sacrificing power, but it hits so hard anyway that you don't always care.
Yeah, Darm can clean at the end of games if there's like 3 mons left and Darm is at like, high health. Come in, quick Flare Blitz.
Yeah, and just crack off 3 Flare Blitzes, because even resisted, like mons that resist Flare Blitz still don't like getting hit by it.
Yeah, Darm is weird. Yeah, if you've got a banded Darm, it's like the switch-ins almost just don't exist.
Yeah, banded Darm just nukes everything.
Even Flashfire users fear like an Earthquake.
Yeah.
Or Rock Slide or something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Darm has U-turn, which is great momentum.
Mm-hmm. How do we feel about Alola Ninetales being added to this team?
That's
screens with the already bulky.
So good.
With the bulk he has, just no.
Rachi and Lottie and Lucha on Veil is honestly a little
Mm-hmm.
One thing though, you might actually I'll let you go because you might actually be. I think you might be saying what I was about to say. So
possibly, I think that he needs to FA for a ground type. Basically,
yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, well, because the thing is that I like he has some stuff in the back that I think he could afford to drop, like his. I don't know what like
for Rhydon.
As I say, yeah, Masquerade's a little bit of a strange fit for the team. Like webs are nice, but really this team functions without them.
Yeah.
Stoutland, I'm like, it exists, I guess, and it like can hit kind of hard. But like, yeah, something for like dropping something for like Rhydon, because like he has decent grass resists on the team, with like Jirachi and Mega Latios and stuff. Like,
yep.
It's just it'd be nice to have something to make Volt Switch a little bit less free against this team, because right now there is a single electric resist, and it's that Mega Latios. So like,
and that doesn't notably that doesn't stop the Volt Switch from happening, where a ground type can just kill any potential momentum from a Volt Switch by switching into it.
Exactly.
Definitely that's one issue I have. Although his team, webs are good for any team. I don't think any team would argue with having webs up on its opponent, but this team can, like you said, functions pretty well without it. Because like Darm's got a good speed tier, Rachi's got a good speed tier, Mega Latios is pretty fast. Feeney's no slouch. Alola Ninetales is pretty quick too. And Miltank is base 100.
Yep.
So it's
surprisingly fast for being literally a cow.
Yeah. So he's got really good stealth rock setters. Miltank is a great stealth rock setter.
Rachi's decent.
Yeah, Rachi's good. So, and he's got doesn't he have every hazard?
If Cloyster gets spikes and toxic spikes?
I know it gets spikes. I don't know if it gets...
Yeah, it gets both.
Okay, yeah.
But
so
like, spikes is...
Yeah, I mean, spikes is iffy. I mean, but like the fact that he has all those options for hazards is interesting. It's kind of... I mean, at the end of the day, you're running defog. I mean, because you're running it for the rocks, if nothing else, or for the webs, if nothing else.
Yeah. And I mean, Cloyster comes as a spike setter every now and then. I had Cloyster for like 5 games of RDL Season 2, and I think I certainly brought it. I know I looked at this team yesterday. I brought it at least once as a spike setter. But like,
it's more the
scary thing to me.
Yeah.
The scary thing to me is that like he has that Alolan Tails there that could set Aurora Veil as he like Calm Minds with Feeney or Mega Latios, or as Halucha gets a couple boosts, or as Cloyster comes in and clicks Shell Smash.
Yeah,
like it's like the Veil on this team is nasty, especially with the core that's out front.
Yeah,
you know, the Latios and the Jirachi and the Feeney.
Yeah, that weather is going to cause a lot of problems.
Yeah. Those 3 especially, just in it's not even the weather, it's the Aurora Veil that just those things already take so little damage from things. Taking half of so little damage.
Yeah. Because it turns Jirachi into even more of a beastly tank. It makes Feeney care even less about certain things like.
Yep, and none of those things have quads.
Nope.
So
yeah, it's tough. Well, and like in Mega Lati behind Aurora Veil is because thank you for the free Calm Minds. Like it's just brutal. Yeah, you're right. Under Aurora Veil, and I think Alola Ninetales is a good pickup. I think dropping his ground type for the Alola Ninetales may not have been the best idea. Or he at least should have picked up a ground type alongside it. And he's still got time, so he might. We don't know.
Yeah, that's correct. It's still technically possible. He still has time, and maybe it'll come in the next couple of weeks. We'll see.
Anyway, we moved from San Jose to San Antonio, and that is a sick graphic they got. I really like that graphic. San Antonio Sceptiles, coached by Dominator.
Yep, another familiar face from the RDL.
Yep. Mega is Mega Lopunny. Tier 1, Tornadus T. Tier 2, Suicune. Tier 3, Galvantula. Tier 3, Zygarde 10. Tier 4, Magmortar. Tier 5, Gramble. Free slot 1, Ferrothorn. Free slot 2, Porygon 2. Free slot 3, Gengar. Free slot 4, Zoroark. That top
I don't think I've stepped back and looked at this team.
Well,
it's terrifying.
It is.
It's very good.
Yep. It's got a good Firewater Grass core with Magmortar, Ferrothorn, and Suicune. Ferrothorn and Suicune in particular are going to be very difficult to break through. Tornadus T can be either wickedly fast and hard-hitting or wickedly bulky and annoying, depending on how you set it. And Megalop is Megalop. I mean, it comes in, it hits the fake outs, it punches you in the face, or rather kicks you in the face. And he's got good support for the Megalop. And he also has another fast hard hitter with that Zygarde 10% also. He's got a pretty... And Zoroark also. He's got a really good array of like fast hitters to accent the bulk core that he's got. He also has Galvantula, which is another web setter. Webs I think are going to be very common this season. And also...
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I think that's, and again, that like I said, every team, no team is going to turn down having webs on their opponent, and Galvantula is a pretty good web setter.
There are definitely games where it's better than other games, but it's like you never say no to it.
Yeah. Well, and he's also got Porygon 2, which is extraordinarily bulky as well. Well, not extraordinary, but very bulky. That Eviolite makes it very difficult to bust, and it hits hard. Anyway, like we were watching a match with Porygon 2 in it earlier today, and we were shocked by how hard that thing was hitting, despite it being bulky.
Analytic will go a long ways if you choose that as the ability. You know, it kind of likes having Trace. It's just got. I mean, Porygon 2 just has 3 very good abilities. Like
yeah,
I think Analytic is one of those underrated things on P2. Just due to the fact that like it's gonna be slower than anyway, and getting like that hit off is just fantastic.
Yeah,
I agree. It's arguably better than gambling with download.
Mm-hmm. Certainly in a lot of situations, I could see that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gengar with that Ghost Poison typing is going to be a big problem for a lot of people who are looking to maybe put in slower psychic types to wall out Megalop.
Speed tiers on this team are just mean on the high end.
Yeah.
110, 115, 121, 135. And then back off a little bit, you got Zoroark down in the mid hundreds, like and then Galvantula is there as well. This team is just there's so much speed throughout this. It's like the speed control game you play against this team is just awful.
One of the things I really don't like though on this team is the fact that Ferrothorn and P2 kind of clash a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what
they get that they share that fighting weakness, and like good fighting types are able to like pass both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he does have good fighting. Checks, like Torny T. This is a big discourager of fighting types. But yeah, fighting coverage could be an issue here. Yes.
I mean, yeah, I'd say that like the thing that you have to avoid when you have one like solid resist for the type that you fear, you know, in this case, like a fighting resist is that like a Gengar switch, if that's what's there, is kind of obvious, or a Torn switch is kind of obvious. And actually, that's a reason that like having Granbull at the back is actually really nice, because like Granbull really doesn't care about your close combats.
No. And Granbull will kill your fighting types gladly.
Yeah. I mean, heaven forbid they have steel coverage, though.
Yeah. This is a team that's going to have issues with faster fighting types. Like, I could see Infernape being a troublesome mon for this team, because you got Lopunny, Ferrothorn, Pori2, Zoroark. They're all weak to fighting types.
And get Mach Punch into the mix for Megalop.
Like, Breloom is actually kind of a struggle for this team as well for that reason. It gets that technician boosted Mach Punch.
Tornty and Gengar don't fear it too much, but it's definitely an issue sometimes. So, and it kills Suicune. But then, you know, those are when you're talking about individual mons being a problem, you kind of like that, right?
Because you know what to prep for, basically.
And also you only play in this league. You only play every mon once. So
unless it gets
schedules here.
Unless it gets FAT dropped and then picked up by somebody else that you face farther down the line, which is something that has happened to people in the past.
We should just troll someone at some point and have like somebody drafts the one mon that they hate the most, and we just pass it around so that they have to play it every week. Like,
who does Cosmic face week 1, and how are we getting Slurpuff on their team?
I face Hive week 1, and you know, I defy you to try.
Who has you right now?
Well,
Nadia.
Lest we forget, though,
Nadia on the phone.
I have Celesteela.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So you better hope you kill that Steela fast, or I am going to ruin that cupcake.
I will mention that Nadia has MagneZOne.
Endeavor with sticky webs isn't a thing. That can be just as annoying as a sweep.
We shouldn't be mean. But anyways, is that the so?
Yeah.
How many teams do we have left? I think we're on to the last one.
Yep.
Up next.
Yes, we are.
The Philadelphia Flygons.
Yep, Philadelphia Flygons, coached by Heathcliff, who we found on Reddit.
A new face.
So we have absolutely no idea what their coaching style is. So I'm excited to find out.
I genned his first team today.
Yep. Well, we have Mega Sharpedo is the Mega. Tier 1, Lando T. Tier 2, Sylveon. Tier 3, Jolteon. Tier 3, Slowking. Tier 4, Ditto. Tier 5, Lantern. Free slot 1, Heatran. Free slot 2, Toxicroak. Free slot 3, Noivern. And free slot 4, Delmise. An interesting team.
It's definitely got like a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Now there is no first turn Mega rule in this league, so Mega Sharp is going to be a lot more valuable than it would have been in the past, or in other leagues, I should say, in RDL being key example. So that Mega Sharp is going to be allowed to get a couple speed boosts in before it Mega evolves, and that could.
I like how his team allows Heatran to go offensive.
Yes.
Just because he has more low tier bulk.
Yeah. And that's another case where low tier bulk could be really helpful to pick up. We were talking about, situations where you want low tier bulk. And this is another one of those situations where the low tier bulk is going to allow high tier bulk to not have to be bulky if you don't want it to be.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting that if he wants rocks, one of Lando T or Heatran has to run it though.
Yeah, that's true too. He's limited in his rock setters.
And to be fair though, Lando is kind of comfortable just falling into the support role week after week if it has to. Heatran, I feel like you don't get the full breadth of what Heatran does unless you're and this is just like a feeling. This is very anecdotal for me, but you want to free Heatran up to do non-support things if you can, because its dual stab is great. It hits hard. It has the Magma Storm, which is fantastic.
And
it does a lot.
And it's got a respectable speed tier as well.
Yeah, 77. It's all right. It's weird, and it makes it such that you scarf it and it beats a lot of things.
But it also loses to a lot of things that you might not expect. It's one of those weird things. It's a weird speed tier, but yeah.
So long as you know your speed tiers, you know what it beats.
Yeah, that's true too. And Lando T is gonna be, it's a good utility mon. It does a lot of things really well. There's a reason it has such a high usage rate in OU. And it's not because it's overpowered. It's because it does a lot of things. We've talked about it in the past.
It's a little overpowered.
A little bit. But Lando T fits on literally every team comp. I don't think there's a single team comp that would... Well, to a point. But there's rare exceptions. No, you could even run it on a stall team.
What?
Yeah.
Never seen that.
Mind you, it was a really old stall team that I saw, but it's been done. There's probably more optimal choices, but Lando functions on one of those teams. I don't think, other than stall, we'll give you that one, but other than stall, most archetypes are perfectly fine with having Lando T.
True. It doesn't really appreciate being in the rain. But
that's true.
Is rain even viable in OU? But that's another discussion.
That's a discussion that doesn't belong in a draft league podcast.
Not even slightly.
Yes, it's very viable in OU.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways.
The clutch has spoken.
The clutch has spoken indeed. Sylveon's such a good fairy type here.
Sylveon's so annoying.
Yeah. Sylveon's it's Wish Passer. It's very specially bulky, but also hits really hard, and also hits past subs. That hyper voice, Pixelate hyper voice, is pretty nasty. Yep, it's gonna deal with a lot of those D-dance, those sub D-dance setters, because there's a lot of them running around.
Clutch brought this up with Ditto. It's a little bit kind of a strange fit here. I don't feel like this team particularly allows setup. or like
yeah.
But like, I mean, Ditto you can kind of throw in and have fun with. Like
Yeah.
it's a nice like it's very rarely a horrible bring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it can come and kind of help out. At the very least, you're gonna be able to scout somebody else's mons. Like
and information, knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe told me so.
Yeah. I suppose so.
Jolteon's picked up a lot of kills in the RDL in the past. So, I mean, it's good late game cleaner if you need it to be.
130 is, of course, blazing fast.
Yup.
This team isn't, the Noivern, the team's kind of relying on like Noivern and Jolteon, and of course, like speed boost Mega Sharpedo for its speed here. But outside of that, it's a little slow.
So
Croak is interesting.
At risk of someone telling me I'm wrong here, I think it's his only hazard removal is Dhelmise, Noivern, and does Lantern get defog?
No, Lando does though.
Lando does, yeah. Right? Okay.
And with Lando already being kind of confined to support role in some ways, Lando won't mind running defog at all.
No, not on this team. I think Lando will be fine with running defog on this team since it's probably frequently going to be running rocks as well. So, but
yeah, defogs at your own rocks if you know.
Yeah, you'll have to be.
If your opponent's not pressuring you, you can do both and keep your rocks in the field, get rid of theirs.
It's Although nice. That is something that might bite him later because like Dhelmise isn't a reliable rapid spinner. Well, it isn't. It isn't. The problem with Dhelmise is it's a weird mon. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. I've used it before. I didn't
for one game.
For one game, but like I dropped it. The reason I dropped it after that one game is because prepping for the next team with it wasn't doing what I needed it to do. I'm not saying it's a bad mon. It's just not a mon I'm personally comfortable with, and I'm kind of leery of it. And notably, it is a rapid spinner that also spin blocks, which is really useful because that actually can come up in a lot of situations, and it also scares out a lot of spin blockers too. It hits hard. And
it does. It's what, base 130 attack or something?
Yeah, and it does have triple stab effectively due to its ability, and it has a trapping move, anchor shot. Like, be careful with your fairy switch-ins because if he doubles on you and gets that anchor shot, or you spooks you into switching a fairy into an anchor shot, say goodbye to that fairy. You're not.
Shout out to Ace from AI who ran the anchor shot hidden power fire set to trap and KO a Ferrothorn. That was some heat.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fire. It also gets pretty powerful stab moves. It gets Power Whip. And it gets Phantom Force, which a lot of people sleep on, but in Draft League I think Phantom Force is a viable move. Especially if you've already trapped your opponent.
Exactly.
You trap your opponent's ghost, your opponent's ghost type, and it's bulky enough they can usually tank a ghost shot. So if you need it to like zap a Gengar real quick, you can probably pull it off, especially if you assault vest it. Like this thing is a good assault vest target. Like
especially because it can still rapid spin with it.
Yeah, exactly. It can remove hazards with that. It can trap without. It's good. It's a good mon for that. Like, and that might be a good role to have on this team, especially when you're talking like it's gonna help stop certain like ghost threats for Slowking, and any like ghost threats that you maybe wouldn't necessarily want your Sharpedo going in after. You can have your Dhelmise deal with that. Lantern, a good low tier bulk, very good volt turn, like very good part of the volt turn core, I should say. So, and that actually could be a pretty good volt. He has an interesting volt turn, kind of almost a volt turn bulk core with Lando T and Lantern. Because he can just switch back and forth if he needs it to do. If he needs them to do that, get some chip that way. He can switch them. He's got good targets for Volt Turn because Heatran's a good Volt Turn target. a good, and it's a slow volt turn too. Like it's a slow volt switch, so he can get Sharpen for free off that, so he can start getting his speed boosts right away if he needs to. Get Ditto in for free.
Yep, lots of good things can come out of that.
So I think this is a balanced team. It certainly it isn't a team that I think sticks in your brain as much as some of the other teams out in the league. But I think it's a good, solid team. It's a solid workhorse team. Like it's got mons. All the mons it's got do their job, and they do their jobs well. And then you have Lando T and Heatran kind of at the top of that, where they're gonna help accentuate and fill in a lot of that.
All right.
So that covers it.
Yep.
Can't wait to report on week 1. Week 1 starts next week, so we won't be giving you TPL coverage next week. It'll be the week after next week, because that's when all the week 1 stuff is done. Hopefully, I imagine we've got a lot of very active coaches in this league, so the matches should get done on time, which will be nice. So we'll be coming to you hopefully later in the week, probably later in the week. I think we can find the time, and that'll be our usual coverage of RDL at Alola International. Any closing remarks, gentlemen?
I think that's it. I mean, I think we're all probably excited for the TPL.
I'm very excited.
The thing to say is that the way that this group was put together, in part, it was just let's go find some coaches from AI real quick. So grab a couple coaches from RDL.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't love everyone in the RDL, and we do. It's but I think that the way that this came together was it came together quick. Spots filled up pretty quickly. We've got some new faces along with it's good to see people from AI and people from RDL. It's gonna be a good season.
One thing I forgot to mention, and this is why I think the battles are gonna get done on time and stuff like that. This was the fastest slow draft I think I've been a part of.
It took 2 days and 11 hours.
Yeah,
we were all pretty motivated. I mean, it helped that a lot of the people that we knew were very excited, and we kind of, I think, conveyed that to the new coaches like Sakura and Heathcliff and Mangoes. Kind of knew that it was the fact that all of us were kind of pumped for this was
it got everyone got excited. Everyone is, and I hope that everyone maintains that enthusiasm throughout the league. And I think I think we got a very good group of coaches here, and I'm quite excied to play against and fight
and
them.
So yeah, thanks.
Engage with them on the field.
Putting this together. Thanks for an early thanks to Adam for pulling the sheet together. Clutch helped a bunch. The two of them are kind of running all the admin business.
Shout out to Brendan as well, who's another admin. And reserve coach. So
it'll be interesting if he steps in to fill a role. It's going to be an interesting day.
Also, shout out to Andrew for filling in for Sakura for the first couple weeks.
Viewers like Andrew.
Like Andrew.
Shout out to Rich if he actually listened to this. Rich has clarified frequently that he is a viewer like Andrew.
Okay.
In which case, I'm proud of you if you listen to a league, something about a league where we where you're not
currently participating.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, with that, we're excited for the TPL, and we'll see you with our usual. We'll get back with your regularly scheduled programming. Thank you.